Welcome everyone to the Kia Tilt-Proof Challenge. We're here to see if 4 gamers can stand up to the test.
Wat is dat?
Oei, oei, oei.
Gas.
Dios mío de mi vida.
I think I lost.
I'm so happy that I didn't eat before.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Done?
Done.
There we go.
Break?
Break.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
If you had it all, would you look the fall in the eyes? Could you walk away this time? Will you realize, recognize it's never over? And the flame that once had died, awaken. Will you rise above the days to come? Will you be enough? Will you walk away this time? Look to your left, to your right, leave the pain behind. 'Cause we all face the fires, and we stray from the light. wash away what used to be. Will you make your stand? The world in your hands again. 'Cause we all face the fires, and we stray from the light. Turn the page and make it right. Feel that rush, feel the tides. Can you feel it? Rip the pain, wash it away, and stand again.
And welcome to the Riot Games Arena here in Berlin, Germany, as today we kick off the best of five of LEC Winter 2024 with G2 arriving in style in the studio with the shades. And I'm mostly excited to see what BDS has in store for us for their debut. Okay, what is the vibe? Camping car, Shio getting out. Jumping out of the bed and ready to take on G2 today, the whole BDS squad getting ready at the studio. I'm Laure and I will be joined by GB today and the fans who are here already. It's lovely seeing you guys here as well. And same for you, Yamato. Thank you for coming by and joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Made it to playoffs.
Made it to playoffs.
In some way.
Yeah. Well, happy to have you here. And actually, I want to have your take on what has been going on so far in the LEC playoffs as we can take a look at the brackets and the playoffs race. Guys, we have 6 teams left. 2 got eliminated yesterday. We lost Team Heretics and we lost Giant X. I came into yesterday saying that we're going to see the best League of Legends Europe has to offer. I'm sorry to the viewers, I lied.
You say we're going to see the worst today just to counteract it, and then hopefully we get something better. But I think it displayed that, from the lower bracket, we also had a lower quality. There is a big difference in the teams that we currently have so far, and it has showed.
It's also the dynamics of being in a new patch straight from the get-go. You need to solve problems because you lost, and then you're playing high-pressure games from the get-go. You're going to see some messy gameplay automatically.
That's the thing. Fighting for their lives, adapting onto the new patch within 1 week didn't quite work out for some teams, but we'll see the winners on Monday. And ahead of today we have G2 versus BDS, but Pop Quiz is back here again, and we challenged the players and some of the fans with some of the league questions. Let's check it out.
Spiraling despair.
I never heard this in my life.
I mean, it can be like so many things. Aurelion Sol E.
Vex E. Garen?
Mossy E.
Helbeth?
Must be like a newer jump. I've never heard it before.
Maybe Hui.
His E.
W?
EQ.
Hui ult, no? It's Hui, okay. Oh, actually, it was so obvious.
Hui ult, sure. I will never forget that.
What? I think it's Briar.
Katarina.
Darius E.
From new champion team.
This is Nafiri Q.
Nafiri Q? Oh yeah, it's Nafiri, yeah! Oh my god, I forgot actually.
Blood Frenzy.
I for sure know this, like I have to know this for sure.
The only one that comes to my mind is Vladimir. For me, the others, it doesn't make sense. The name.
It has to be Warwick W.
Samira ult.
Xinjiang?
Shinamia?
I know that one. It's Briar.
Think W.
W? That sounds like Briar W.
It's only new champs, you rat. Oh my god.
All right, next I'll play some sounds.
Okay.
How can I play this game 12 hours every day for the past like years? And I don't know the sounds.
Sounds like water sound.
It really sounds like a tank ability.
Like a swamp kind of thing, like something that stays on. Like, is it a spell that like stays on the ground, right?
Yeah, I have no clue. I'm just gonna guess like some random tanks like Maokai.
Tamkens.
Nami Q.
Oh wait, W.
Cassio W.
It kind of sounds like a Gragas Q, but also sounds like Pike W. So like, I was like Gragas.
It's Gragas Q.
Oh, it bubbles and then it explodes.
Last one.
Oh, last one, no, I need more points.
This one plays twice. Yeah, I did it twice because it sounds a bit different sometimes.
Doesn't sound like a damage ability.
Taloni.
Maybe like set E?
Is it Amumu Q?
Listen.
Unit W.
Quinn?
Can you do it again?
Oh! Sheni.
Ah, it's Shen-E.
It's Shen-E.
Is it Shen-E?
Shen-E, but it's been years since I played Shen.
Yeah, I'm the good on sounds. Like, I'm actually good at sounds, but like on pictures, it's so hard. And you put me new champs and reworked stuff. Like, oh my god, man.
Hello and welcome to the LEC, where we have our own version of Pop Quiz. The pros didn't seem to do that well, so I'm challenging viewers that have come live to the studio. So this is the first ability.
And looks and the ultimate.
Lucian Q? Is it like Lucian Q? Piercing shot, Lucian Q.
Okay, we're actually getting names as well. I'm impressed. That was indeed Lucian Q. Anyway, next.
Obviously, Katarina ult.
Katarina and ultimate.
It's Katarina ult, I believe. Death Lotus Katarina ult.
It is indeed Katarina R, Death Lotus. Next one coming up.
Demacia Garen ult.
Could be Garen? R Garen?
Garen ult. It's the Garen ult.
It is Garen R, congratulations. Okay, this is gonna be a difficult one, okay?
There you go. Oriana ult. Aurelian E. Command Shockwave Oriana ult.
I give up. 4 out of 4. Get out of here. Get out of here. Thank you guys for watching.
So for me, the fans did better than the players in the video. Of course, it's cut and everything, but yeah, good on you guys. How many did you have?
In the
In
fans?
general,
in general, I sucked at the first one. I got everything wrong.
I wasn't playing. Honestly, I was kind of spaced out,
Yeah.
so I don't have an answer.
I want to plan for some of this maybe in the weeks to come. We'll see about that. But let's get back to the match of the week we have on our hands today. BDS versus G2. Supposedly the best two teams we have in the league right now. How strong do they look? And I know that it's a vast question depending on what standpoint you take. But what makes G2 and BDS strong right now?
I think BDS have just followed up on the recipe from the previous year. I think they are very disciplined in their approach. They are playing towards the things that matter, which is, of course, the objectives, the dragons. They're making sure they're on time, they're on tempo, and they know which areas they want to fight around.
No, but I think in general it just comes down to the fact when they start playing that mid to late game, because both teams at times had a sloppy early game, but where they really start coming together is when they reach the mid game. It is when they start setting up for the objectives that you mentioned, because their team fighting has both been deadly specifically for BDS, but also on the G2 side, Caps has been an ace, like almost in a different form that, and I know we always talk about it,
Yeah.
but when you have a losing top at times that we had throughout the split, when you have a losing bot that we have throughout the split, and mid lane is still the lane that kind of carries it on and makes that a winning game, that is very impressive, and that's the kind of form that Caps has been in this split.
Let's take a closer look at BDS though and compare how both teams can team fight, because they don't access these mid-game situations the same way on the side of BDS. That's a build-up that starts from the early game with GB, and they unlock themselves a good mid-game situation after that.
Yeah, we've been talking about it, and I think it's one of the main reasons reason that I have been so excited watching BDS. It's the fact that no matter how it goes in the early game, we know that these team fights are going to be incredible because they're on the same page, everyone's coming together, and it just feels like BDS is a team that knows exactly how the fight is supposed to start, how it's supposed to happen in the middle of the fight in terms of how you respond to the enemy spells, and then how you finish it in terms of what we do after as well. What objectives do we grab? What advantage did we actually get this in terms of a tempo reset? They have just been phenomenal at this.
I think it just in terms of their setups, it's very obvious when they want to turn, when they want to look to fight. It feels like they're rallying around the same abilities and they're always waiting together for the right times to turn. I think it's very important to pinpoint how the map is shaped and how it's changed, but I think in terms of when they decide to turn, which areas they fight around, you can clearly see a pattern in terms of how they like to approach things.
And for me, what makes G2 interesting in the team fights and the way they approach it is not the same thing in the sense that we've been critical of G2's early game, but the ability they have to come back in the game using their team fights ability for me is what has made G2 shine so far in 2024.
I think just G2 in terms of how they approach the game, I think they kind of play at a higher level than everybody else in the league because they're assessing information real time. I think that when you play systematic, you're going to lose out on opportunities where the enemy is actually going to give you mistakes and opportunities to pounce. And I think this kind of provides more of a space where individuals can shine because G2, you always have those players that can operate in those situations where they take a piece of information and really make it a play that is memorable.
And I think specifically that information is just counting summoner spells. One thing that both teams do very well is exposing who doesn't have that flash. And while it's very simple, it's something that they continuously know how to track and shut down in a team fight.
And they both use mid lane as a pivot, if I may, but not in the same way. When you look at BDS and the way Nuke has been playing, for instance, he's facilitating the rest of his team through picks and his playstyle. But GB, when you look at his laning phase, that's not the most solid thing for Nuke at
I mean,
all.
it's kind of the thing for both, right? Caps loves to have a high lane percentage. He's also been playing picks like an AD LeBlanc that needs to be up in your face and taking some of these plates. But for Nuke, it's not like he's actually getting a lot of individual leads for himself, but that also makes the transition so much more impressive for him because it's not the fact that he's playing for himself, it's the fact that he shows up when he is in a mid-lane game team fight and he knows exactly what he needs to do. And it's also just his meta. We've seen the Nikos, we've seen the Orianas, we've seen the Asias. It's just a perfect environment for Nuke right now.
I think something that Nuclear does quite well is just being on time. I think a lot of players are going to play and focus on their individual leads and play for CS, but being on time when your super wants to be active, when your jungle wants to be active, requires a little bit of nuance, and I think that this is something that Nuke does because Labrov and Shio like to be very active, and you need to be a mid laner that is always ready for that action because he's always very involved in the decisions that these two players make.
And how is it going to match up against what Caps can bring in the stability that he brings to G2 TV?
I think we're going to see some pinpoint in draft as well. Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to see the LeBlanc go through, for example, for Caps because it's something he's been loving into a lot of Nuke's champion pools. So I think G2, they're going to bring a different ace up their sleeve. They're going to be very hard to pin down, and that's why Caps becomes super scary.
I want to move up to the top lane because BB brought a lot of stuff. We know that Adam loves his flex picks, but Adam had an opinion on certain champions in ahead of week 3, and Zach especially was one that he might have underestimated. Let's check what he said.
Welcome, Adam and Caps. Top laner, Adam, we were discussing the new patch, and everyone was telling us about Zach. Your opinions on Zach top?
Put you on the spot there.
I'm putting you on the spot, I'm so sorry.
Can I be honest?
Yeah, absolutely. We would love that.
Looks really bad.
Looks really bad? Okay,
I've been
called
out.
So strong works, especially when you consider how well BB has been playing the champion, but was Adam actually born ready when you think of champions like Darius that he's been mastering for years?
Kind of. I feel like the big thing is always counter picks, right? Zach is picked into very specific things, and the key thing about Adam is always when he plays the best of ones, very dangerous, 14.2. Of course, the champions that are so unique, but always when these guys have faced up against each other in, of course, the best of 5s, the best of 3s, the counter picks show up, and BB, of course, with the Zach against the Karma, he was dominating the game.
Yeah, but there were certain conditions that had to be met by G2 when they were playing against Fnatic, and that was when they reached the second ban phase, before they would pick their Zach, they would always always make sure that Darius had been banned. So there is a lot of Adam's champion that maybe have a good matchup into the Zac. I'll be honest, I don't know all of Adam's champion pools matchup into a new pick like the Zac itself, but that can also be why Adam thought it was a bad pick, because his champion has just been dumpstering the Zac in the top lane maybe.
And is G2 gonna throw the Darius ban in the banning phase, or do they have an answer ready for this one? And I'm just wondering if top lane is gonna be volatile maybe here.
For sure it will be. I just remember the matchups in the past. BB did such a good job of preparing. I remember the set game, then he picked the Olaf themselves, and then G2 just ganked the Flash Ghost player and just ruined him. I think it's all about the best of fives, the preparation against the BDS team. I think G2 is going to just show how to beat BDS today.
And at the end of the line, a spot in the upper final, but it's time for our match of the week, G2 versus BDS, delivered by Uber Eats.
I'm hungry now.
Going into this match, I mean, we definitely want to win it. BDS is on a win streak. They lost their one game, but aside from that, they're just winning a lot.
Hilly gets 3-shot, Kazi with a second. His video is the last hope for Vitality, but his team has died around him.
Facing G2 is always like a challenge. You don't really know what they prepared. I would like to take revenge this time.
There's the Pop Blossom and pop goes BDS. Sheo, the last man standing in the top lane free, but he'll be snipped away.
We really want to just take them down, because if we don't, they will get so much more confidence to beat us in the finals if we meet again.
G2 dancing around Fnatic right now. Excellent pushback on Onsama, meets a kill. Hero trying to turn this one right back. It's all eyes on Caps. Does he have the damage? The answer is hell. Yes, he does.
Your opinions on Zac top?
Can I be honest? Looks really bad.
Looks really bad? Okay,
I've been called
okay.
out. When I was on PGL with Adam and he was saying that Zac wasn't that great, I was laughing a bit because, I mean, I definitely enjoyed playing Zac in the past and I knew BB was cooking up something, so we'll see just how much it sucks next week.
Bold words in our match of the week delivered by Uber Eats. Here we are, BDS and G2 taking to the stage. Those two guys leading at the front. Adam and Broken Blade naturally where we're going to be keeping our eyes today. But just about every single role stacked up. Our first best of 5 here in the LEC Winter Split. Coach is taking the stage as well as we get ready for picks and bans. I'm Dracos, joined at the desk by my outfit brother and Euphoria brother Dagda.
You went to brunch and you kind of plan this out, and
Yes.
I love the suspenders.
No, we are so in sync that we just happen.
We didn't even talk about this.
Exactly. Yeah,
And they can't see us yet, but when they do, they're going to be impressed by how identical we look. We could be brothers.
We're excited. Obviously, the energy in the arena is electric today, and we have two of our best performing teams from Winter. The last time these two teams met was week 1, gentlemen. It did go in the favor of G2, but since then they've had very different trajectories, with BDS constantly on the upswing. A lot of criticism mainly thrown towards G2, largely towards their early game and their inconsistencies, but regardless, they did finish first at the end of the regular season due to the standings and their performance, and in playoffs so far, both these teams have looked strong.
But that's the thing. I mean, I think G2, at least in week 4, had a bit of an upswing themselves. And every time we've seen these two teams face off in a best-of series, it's been G2 who comes out on top. In fact, every time we saw these two teams in a best-of series last year, it was not only the fact that, 2 out of the 3 times we saw these teams in best-of series last year, it was G2 beat BDS, and then BDS were just unable to pick up any win after that as well. So it definitely G2 have gotten into the heads a little bit of these guys in the past.
And we'll have to see if the same remains true today, or if BDS can flip the script and show us a little bit more against G2. Find their second series win. Technically, they won a best-of-1, which is kind of a series. I mean, it counts as an overall win, but that was back on a very different roster with like Syncroft and Erdote. Darius has been banned away, crucially, as highlighted by the desk. Broken Blade already locking in the Kalista for Hansama on the bottom side, and now a cheeky TF hover if you somehow missed it, which would be fair because it's on OPGG and not anywhere you would see it regularly. This is a champion that's been coming up in the hands of Broken Blade. Hence, perhaps, the TF hover.
That was definitely, that felt like, yeah, we know.
We know. The 5 back-to-back games in your most recently played gave it away, buddy. We know.
They're on to them.
I respect that. But BDS going for tried and true. Ice has been playing a bunch of Varus this split. Obviously, one of his best performing champions so far. And Nuke on the Orianna. So far in the playoffs, Nuke has only played Orianna and Azir. And it feels like that they're going to stick to comfort for at least game 1.
Yeah, I think it's actually actually interesting to see. Oh, there's the TF anyway taken, but I was going to say for Kalista, you usually want to pair with the Renata, and usually that's taken away on the red tide whenever you see the Kalista pick, but it's G2 banner away, so you're probably going to be looking like a Nautilus or Leona or some kind of hyper engage here for Mickey. But curious to see, I mean, Twisted Fate, I mean, this is, I was going to say in general, like a flex most times, because you've seen it top for BB, you just hit on, we've seen it for mid laners across the world, but it is also the pocket pick for Mickey. So I don't think we'll see it there, but it is just something he's been cooking for a while.
At the very least, traditionally a mid laner, and Broken Blade has been spamming in solo queues. So we know it flexes into 2 positions. We'll see if a 3rd or 4th rear its head. For now, though, debates onto what the BDS first ban should be. They have locked in the Poppy. Easy to assume this is a jungler, but we've seen it flex into both positions.
Still really like the Poppy in general into the composition. Vi and Kalista, you get a lot of value from Poppy. Also means that you're deterred from picking things like the Rakan. You are looking at things like a potential Nautilus, which perhaps BDS either want to early rotate or consider banning away.
But I think the thing is the BDS need to get something here for Adam. Then I'd imagine 5th pick that at least can contest side lanes. Because at the moment you're looking at, okay, well we got the TF who wants to try and play for sides. We're very much playing this like pick style composition here as G2. So if you end up with, I know it's probably not going to be picking, but say like a Camille top lane for BB or something like a Yone top for BB that can try and play heavily with sides with this TF, I don't think an Orianna is going to feel comfortable in that regard. And I don't think Adam, or well, unless Adam can go for something that contested like a Garen or an Olaf or something along these lines, I think that's where you're going to need to try and focus your attention here as BDS.
Nautilus will be the ban away, of course. Nautilus kind of one of the only remaining premier blind 6 supports that we see consistently, at least in the playoffs thus far. So G2 now deciding what they want their final ban to be.
I think they might ban Garen. If they do want to put this TF top, I'm just thinking about champs that Adam plays. That like Olaf and Garen are probably, you did mention them earlier, Doug, that I mean, which one do you go for? Because I genuinely think that both of them can just run a TF down, right? Yeah. And so like, that's one of the concerns that you have of blind picking this. You already did talk about the flexibility. They're going to leave it open. And I guess that the worst case scenario is if Adam does choose to blind something like the Garen, but he's going to save it for last pick. So he wants to make sure he knows exactly where this Twisted Fate is going.
There are so many flexes. Stop flexing things. Stop picking things that could go with 2 role. We got Relo who could be support or jungle. We've got Poppy who could be jungle or top lane. And now G2 Esports have, well, knowledge at least of what the enemy mid and AD are, but everything else remains a little murky.
Yeah, I do think, though, for G2, you got an option here. It's like, do we go 1-4 or do we go 1-3-1, right? You already have the Twisted Fate, but it's a case of like, well, there we go. It's like, okay, we're going to try and play this where we can at least group up as a 4-man unit and leave the Twisted Fate to push side lanes, but I think you need something that at least can contest mid-wave, because Kalista versus Varus means that it's very hard for you to just try to have that like solo split pusher if you don't have mid control, and you can't really get that if you go for like a poke Varus in this setup, so I'm curious to see exactly what they want to try and round out this comp with.
Debate here now. Taric!
I was not expecting that.
Going to get locked in. Interesting choice here. You have 2 tanks on the opposite side, so relatively low overall damage profile. Taric thrives against a lot of enemy melee champions when he can just auto and endlessly heal via the passive, just kind of giving him that Starlight's touch heal stacks.
Yeah, one of the nice things on 14.2 as well that Taric got buffed where he doesn't have unit collision whenever he has his E now. So that makes things significantly easier for him in the laning phase. So yeah, it means that you can have a little bit of an easier time. Still not like Rel jumping onto you. It's going to make things like, it doesn't really matter. She's going to be in your face anyway. But certainly if you're trying to hit onto ice in this setup, not having that unit collision is going to make it very nice for you.
So Rumble is the answer into the Twisted Fate. Honestly, not what I was expecting. I mean, melee matchups into Twisted Fate early on are going to struggle. My expectation was that things like the Olaf would just be able to run it down later into the game, but he's saying, you know what, I'm actually going to play for the team fights. BDS have shown to be stronger in the 5 versus 5. Normally most of their games end up in a very neutral to sometimes even negative state in the early game, and then in the mid game it's where they find those great fights, and then I think that they've drafted themselves a very strong team fight comp here.
And it's funny because you talk about that for BDS. We've also seen inconsistent early games for G2 in some of their games. For the first time these 2 teams played each other, and admittedly it was one of the first games of the split. Might have been the first game of the split.
It was, yes.
Yeah. It was 5 kills in 5 minutes. They were fighting and killing each other everywhere, and I wonder if that's some of what we're going to see today, if it's going to feel a little bit differently when we have 2 teams that are volatile in the early game that both know that the opposition is ready to fight and face them in the mid game.
But I think one of the things that worked for them super well last week was the fact that, hey, we're going to bring BB down to help out bot lane. Like he had the Zac TP across both games where he's just like, I'm going to play for bot lane, we go for a dive, we're going to set up those advantages for ourselves. But as we start to load into the game, he actually hasn't opted for a teleport. He's gone Ghost and that flash as well. So obviously going a little bit more for the laning phase, trying to make sure that he can escape maybe if Adam's trying to chase him down. But it doesn't mean you've got less opportunities for BB to try and get down to that bot lane until he hits 6. And maybe he can use that Destiny there. But I think it's going to be super interesting to see how BB tries to play this.
We'll keep a track of it. Doran's Blade, the start. ADTF is the top side build. We'll see if he has any special adjustments up into the Rumble. If you haven't seen this, TF obviously adjusted to support AD builds much more.
Ooh. The support for BDS coming in strong today. Normally an arena that is crowded by G2 fans. Nice to hear the BDS support stand strong today.
Yeah.
As a reminder, this is our first best of 5 of the winter split. We're going to be seeing these teams at the very least play 3 games against each other, and that's why I kind of love the approach from G2 in game 1. When I look at these comps, in terms of just straightforward execution, BDS is way simpler to execute. You've got a great front line in the form of Poppy and Rel, you've got great backline damage in the form of Orianna and Rumble, and then you've got Varus. I expect him to go towards the poke build, as we often see, but even if he does go for the on-hit, just a lot of potential late-game damage. So BDS sticking to the style that they've consistently found success with so far this split, whereas G2 continue to shake things up. They do have a strong bot side, but I imagine that they're going to struggle against the Varus early. In terms of this 2v2, I'm very curious as to how the Taric and Terrell matchup in particular influences the control over this lane.
Yeah, I think definitely you're going to be looking at, look, Hansama can get a little bit of control early just with the fact that Mickey can play very far up. You got the stun that you can try and look for an ice, which has great setup to try and follow up on. But I think at the early stages, Yike is going to have to try and focus more towards topside, right? BB isn't running that teleport, so you need to try and make sure you can get maybe 4th wave, 5th wave crash so he can actually reset and match Adam's reset. Otherwise, I think you're going to fall super far behind. So I am curious to see what Yike's decision-making is here. Like, does he feel like BB's just okay to get full control into this top lane matchup without Sheo coming up and he's going to be able to reset himself? Or will Yike try and help him out and... Oh, actually,
nice early ignite going down, forcing Labrov back, but just going to use the W there. The crash down will be able to get out to safety. Caps and Nuke trading aggressively in mid lane as well. Orianna kind of unsurprisingly taking advantage in the early matchup. Clockwork windup, you know, pretty strong passive, but Caps giving as good as he gets, just not quite able to keep up in terms of wave clear.
Notice this ward that was dropped on the Raptors here from the side of BDS. Our observers are going to highlight it for us now. G2 do know that this is here, but I think a large part of this is because for anyone that's watched G2 games this split, they love the level 3 invades. They play around their bot prio all the time. They consistently look to try and invade the enemy bot side, and they'll use the push in the bot side of the map to try and put pressure on the enemy jungle. This time, Hansama and Mickey already looking for that early information, but Yike deciding it's not worth trying to go for that contest, especially given the HP of Caps right now. He doesn't think that without that mid prio, it's worth going for that skirt.
Yeah, I was interested because they spotted that level 1, and Yike kind of like faked that he was going into the enemy jungle, and then you see Hansam and Mickey move. So I think that's why you have Labrov here as well, to just kind of go, wait, are they coming in? What's the plan? But with Hansam and Mickey now showing on bot side, I think they're just going to end up stepping away. And again, I think Yike can reset here, move in towards his top side if he really wants to, or contest Scuttle here. The options are there, but I think moving up towards this top side to try and help out BB in these early stages is probably going to be a nice shout.
Looks like Broken Blade went for an early Cheetah recall, picking up those boots and the refillable. Did drop a ward on the top side under the assumption that there could be an early gank heading his way. But yeah, going to path up towards top, assuming that this is the only safe Scuttle Crab for him to go for, given that his bot lane has, of course, just gone back to base.
Good ward coverage, going to spot out Sheo there. Will allow Yike to know that it is the only safe grab that he can go for. Sheo now revealed on the bottom side. Information on the enemy jungler for G2. BDS, I think, can be reasonably confident that Vi is clearing out the top side Scuttle. Haven't quite spotted that one yet, but Sheo now moving through. But again, being spotted here, going to make it tricky. That said, bot wave about to crash. Do they want to fish for a dive on the bottom side?
Looks like that's going for a reset from Yike to try and move down here. And Adam also kind of faked a reset in that top side. Wasn't sure if he was going to try and go for an all-in on BB just before he went for the TP play. But you can see both teams at the moment very slow. No one really wanted to step a foot wrong. You even see Yike now that he realized the wave's cleared and move back up towards his top side because that's where his camps are respawning.
And while you talked about the adjustability that you have in draft in a best of 5, certainly, yes, you can also afford to lose a game. A reminder that winning this series takes you through straight to the finals. Losing puts you further down in the gauntlet, going to have to face at least another opponent, the victor of our first best of 5 next weekend. But the luxury of being able to sit at the top and kind of wait to see who your opposition is going to be is such an incredible boon to have. And both of these teams look to be the strongest in the league. So cementing yourself as the clear strongest and then getting to see all of your opponents fight for the right to face you, incredible position to be in if you can come out on top in this best of 5 series.
Nice damage going out from Broken Blades. For those that haven't played against this ADTF before, his passive is you can actually see the skill order observers highlighting in the bottom left, choosing to put an additional point in E. You usually don't skill the Q. It's not that valuable for you. You just prioritize getting your cards up, and also the bonus attack speed and stuff that you get from your E, as well as the on-hit. Just means that those extended trades are that much harder to deal with in this Rumble. Actually getting bullied out of the lane in this early game.
You also just get significantly more gold on TF now as well. The fact that you have the second roll on your gold, where it's weighted like more towards one, yeah, it's absolutely insane. So it's like, you just end up with so much extra gold on this ADTF where you're able to snowball. So
I mean, the CS is pretty much dead even, right? And you can already see a gold lead starting to build.
Yeah. And then as well, like, you're going to see him, well, now that he's hit 6, like, the opportunity feels like to try and punish the BB in the early stages on this TF is kind of gone now. For Sheo, where he's get the reset, you just ult back to topside with the Destiny, while also simultaneously revealing everyone on the map as G2 setting up a push on bot. Looks like for a Dragon.
Ulti used primarily just to get back to that top wave, but also, as you highlighted, information gained. They know exactly where everyone is on the map now. Information is power in the early game. And G2, they've managed to get the push in mid as well. Here comes Sheo, though.
Sheo looking for an angle, might be able to find Caps. Gonna go for the knockback of the wall. Flash forward, just full committing there. Should be an easy, quick kill pick up. Caps now trying to turn that one back. Nuke getting stunned from downtown by Mickey. Nice setup on the target to keep Caps standing. Nuke now gonna be in trouble. Spear stacking. The back of Nuke, but not quite enough to finish the job. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the fight, Mickey now on the chase, flashing for the stun, forcing out the cleanser from Ice. But this should just be a quick turn back because Ice does not go down. BDS able to find the kill. Ice now looking to follow up. G2 over-committing and getting punished in the process. Caps now trying to style, trying to get a little bit back, but just going to have to take his way back out to safety.
G2 thought they smelled blood in the water. Ice was getting slowed by the Ocean Dragon attacks, but it's actually just a bait. Sheo's right there. They're able to turn that play around, and Hans Sama and Caps were just completely nullified at the start of this play.
A surprising lack of damage from both sides in that early game. A lot of people getting low, but no kills actually secured. I was wondering if Nuke, I was kind of waiting for the shockwave to come out. I believe Nuke used it earlier in the laning phase, which is why he didn't actually have it. Because the moment that Caps was kind of thrown into the wall by Sheo, I thought he was dead, right?
You see the Poppy burst, and you forget that literally, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you can see nobody has any items.
Yeah.
There are no items. You're like, they're going to kill him. And then you're like, oh, wait, they can't do anything.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure the shockwave is down here because I was expecting the shockwave right here. Initial kill, doesn't get it. Flash for flash. I think Hansama thinks, you know what, I can commit onto the enemy Orianna here, and I should have enough damage to do it, but he just doesn't. Meanwhile, Sheo also getting chipped away. All of the G2 members are at about half HP. But the problem here is that it's easier, I should say, for BDS to turn because Caps and Hansama are so zoned away from the follow-up fight that it's easy for Ice to turn that one around. Very well played from the BDS AD carry.
Also good recognition of their strengths. With these kind of tankier options like the Rel and Poppy, you do have good upfront burst damage. Yes, G2 in theory beats you in some capacities, and right now they're winning in deaths. Labrav beat that, buddy. 1,500 for Mickey. This is unexpected and bad manners, but I love to see it. All right, Yike now caught out as well, looking to keep up with Mickey here on the death count. Is quick pick going to come through on the jungle. Sheo going to find that one. BDS taking over bottom side of the map.
Great punishment. Just coming off the back, the fact that you got these early kills and now you're like, cool, we can go for the invade. We got push on mid. You can start to set up control on bot side as well. And if you can try and get these dragon stacking early, like, yes, ADTF is great in the side lane and great in the 1v1, but a TF is still a TF at the end of the day. And if you're coming into a team fight, I'd much rather a Rumble ult than a TF ult any day of the week. So I think BDS, if you can start stacking these dragons, force G2 into fights, you're in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, credit to BDS using the early advantage that they have to move into that red buff and find that advantage again. Punishing G2, great to see from them. Now the Dragon contest, G2 want to get frisky here.
Been able to recall now. Dragon going to be secured by BDS. Do G2 feel confident enough that they can force this fight? Excellent knockback.
I think there's a bit of a mistake coming through from G2. I think BDS, significantly better position, good damage opportunity to try and take that Dragon. I think he should have just gone for Void Grubs. Try and get the fact that, hey, look, BB can actually put work in on these towers if he's got a couple of those extra damages, or even the grubs that can come through as well. So I think you could have cross-mapped here, but kind of missing your opportunity now. And BDS, you're having the run of the mill here in this early game.
Yeah, and their only lead right now on the side of G2 is Broken Blade, and it's built on the back of TF passive. and a single plate, which is not a good position to be because, again, the TF kit is generally weaker compensated for having his little, golden compassive. He doesn't have a passive that does anything else. So tricky situation to be certain. That said, we talked about it earlier on. Both these teams, if you had to look at their weakest points of the course of the split, were usually some of the early games where it got a little bit more questionable. G2 will see if they can turn this one around as we get a little bit further in. Yike on the way down. Mickey and Han Sama looking to extend the trade. Marshall poised.
I don't see how they really make this game work, though. Yike is investing a huge amount of his time to try and get this bot lane ahead. And I don't think that's the wrong play by any means, but I think BDS are doing a great job of weathering the storm. Sheo really wants to clear his top side, and he's going to have an advantage just being back out on the map. I say that, he's actually making his way towards the bot jungle. I expected him to sort of clear towards his top and then path back towards bot to potentially help them get that push out on this next wave. With the resets coming through, maybe he wants to clear from bot to top so that he can set up for a contest around these Void Grubs. Information will be gained by Broken Blade, as Adam now makes his way back out onto the map. Early Merc Tread secured for him. Even if this is an ADTF, that stun card can still be very obnoxious to deal with.
And as well, I mean, the fact that you're able to look for picks with like Yike and BB, you're going to do a ton of damage if you're able to play off this top side. Shale, he's actually doing such a really good job of farming that he's had the level advantage here for Yike for a little while. So I wouldn't be surprised to see BDS try and push this if you do end up going for Void Grubs as G2. But at the moment, it looks like he's not interested. He's just like, cool, I'm going to hover around this bot side, contest Raptors on respawn, and make sure that I'm able to keep control of this bot side. So then, realistically, Han Sam and Mickey can't get control here.
Nice trading from Adam.
Yeah, very positive trade from Adam. Overheats, make sure the flamethrower continues. Broken Blade needs a bit of time to get that gold app card out and locked in, but here comes Yike from the shadows, looking for the lockup flash to stage from Adam, immediately laying down his old ult. Broken Blade just staying just on the side, not wanting to walk into the hitbox. But they get the flash and they get the ulti out in exchange for Broken Blade's ghost.
But look at the immediate response from BDS. Sheo pathing back towards the bot side of the map. This will guarantee BDS some plates onto their AD carry, stealing away camps from Yike as well. I love the response. BDS doing a good job of matching all the sorts of pressure that G2 trying to throw at them in the early game.
Yeah, and they just cannot walk forward here. Sheo has so much armor. They do not do anything to that Poppy. Ice going to grab the plate. They don't want to overcommit. Happy to give him just that little boon of gold and walk away. Already a Youmuu's completed for the Varus.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of surprised to see them go for the Kalista here rather the Varus. Because I was looking going, okay, well, if you want to try and contest like mid-push to let Breeby do his thing in the mid to late game, you kind of need the poke Varus to contest that mid-wave and have control there. But up and in towards the Kalista means that now you kind of want to play towards both sides of the map. And it's making things very difficult where they want to try and play for BB to push his advantages, get some Void Grubs, play through that. But they haven't really been able to secure their bot lane either because of how good of a job Adam's doing at delaying any sort of pressure topside and how great Ice and Labrov have been working with Sheo.
Honestly, I have less of a problem with the Kalista priority and more so what they paired up with it. The moment that they saw that Poppy, I feel like that their support options became very hamstrung. Like, maybe they wanted to go for things like the Alistar, maybe they wanted to go for the Rakan, like, even if they wanted to prioritize a Nautilus, by focusing that Twisted Fate, they kind of locked themselves into a position where you could give Adam the answer while also making it difficult to actually find advantages in the bot side. And right now, this Taric, I don't think that it's necessarily doing anything wrong, but it is very difficult for G2 to find advantages and actually win out on these early skirmishes. And BDS happy to chill. They know in terms of the scaling, they know they have great team fighting, they know that they can play well around these objectives, and that's why they thrive. The fact that their early game is in a position like this is the optimal setup based on what we've seen from them this split.
And I think the tricky thing for G2, when you start to find yourself at an early deficit, and yes, it is only 1,000 gold, and Broken Blade is doing his best to build a lead out for himself individually. The hard part about being in a deficit like this with the Taric is reactionary Taric ults are trash. You want to be engaging and throwing it down as you're blowing all your cooldowns, so by the time they've got their head on straight and they try to respond, they're not doing any damage to you. If you're getting poked out by Varus and a shockwave comes in, it's already too late to Taric ult. You know, the fight is probably already done, and that's going to make it really hard for them to get value out of this Taric pick.
And especially when you look towards this next dragon, right? Because already BDS have pushed mid, push bot, they're going to set up a ton of vision. You're going to have to try and blind face check this essentially as G2 try and get control over this, and that's where BDS are happy. They're just going to try and look for the pick.
Caps caught out here. Steadfast presence trying to make sure he can't get a away. Excellent pushback. Attaching the ball to Sheo ended up being the wrong play there. If it had been on the ground, it might have caught Caps, but because it was put on the Poppy, the pullback is there.
It's ult for ult, though. Where's Broken Blade? Making his way out onto the map. Adam as well. It looks like we're going to have a big brawl around this dragon. Both teams poised and ready to fight.
Ult traded for ult. Immediately engaged now coming out. That's the Taric ultimate. Yike still standing for now. Good so far. The front line protected. Broken Blade trying to get some damage down over the wall. G2 forcing their way into the pit, but BDS not going to overcommit, recognize they're weaker, give up Ice, and walk away.
I mean, Ice didn't need to give up his life there. He takes a step too far forward, looking for poke, trying to see if he can get the chains on towards Yike, but he's got the unstoppable coming through from the ultimate, and he's just able to lock down Ice. So big mistake from the BDS AD carry and costing BDS in that game, or in that fight, I should say.
And now Caps, as he overstayed on the side lane here, Lebrov coming in, but just a little bit too late. Adam clears out the wave, and essentially everything is now even when it comes to gold. Crucially, though, when it comes to the itemization department, big lead for Broken Blade individually. He's going to be the one that we have to kind of track in these fights. Broken Blade, speaking of, now caught out here. On the run, the knock up there from Sheo. There's just got to be no way you get out of this one, but he does
He's
have
getting out of this one.
And you'll always remember the day you almost caught the Broken Blade. It cost him everything.
Well, they got a TP out from Adam, which, I mean, there's lots of ways to look at this. The advantage that BDS has is that Nuke still has his TP, so they can have him match on a side lane, and then they can always guarantee numbers advantage. But the beauty of Twisted Fate is your ultimate helps you cheat, and I think one of the big things in that last fight was Adam was there just a little bit later, so the one-more combo potential of BDS wasn't really an option, whereas the TF could arrive thanks to the ultimate that allowed him to just get into that fight that bit earlier. So very excited to see how we handle these upcoming fights as we get closer and closer to the mid game. It's Caps now in the bot lane. No TP, remember, so numbers advantage with BDS means that they should be able to guarantee this Herald.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to guarantee it, and I want to see it put down in mid. If you can get rid of mid tower, abuse the fact Ice has push against Hansam in the mid lane, it makes it very difficult for you to try and play sides as G2 here. So I think that's why G2 trying to trade this for, hey, we're going to have pressure on bot lane, Yike is going to protect Caps as well, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them transition into this mid play to guarantee mid tower to respond in kind.
And I think G2 transitioning that bot tower into the mid tower at the cost of Herald is an excellent deal for them. Breaking mid tier 1 so crucial. The access they now have to the bot side jungle you can see is significant. They're not going to overplace vision on the bottom side, partially because they don't have wards, but also Dragon's still a pretty decent ways away.
It's crazy how the momentum has shifted. BDS heavily invested their resources towards the top side of the map to secure that Herald, right? They committed their TP into the bot side, they then transitioned to mid, pushed in mid, gained control over top. G2 saw that and responded by having Caps isolated push the bot side while the rest of G2 group mid, and because they had early control over that mid wave, they can use their pressure on bot to collapse into mid to guarantee that tower. And now G2 have the gold lead. So BDS, like, they're getting run around the map a little bit as we enter this mid game. This has been the focus of G2 this whole split, their approach to the mid game and their macro. So the question is, how will BDS handle this? Because again, they've found themselves in deficits like this before, but it's the team fighting, really, where BDS have always shone this split.
And that's why I think BDS kind of stumbled losing that last Dragon, right? Because that was kind of their main way of going, hey, in 5 minutes' time, you have to fight us again. You don't have the tempo advantage. You can't try and play a bunch of side lanes, and it makes it very, very difficult. Now that you're only looking at 2 dragons, you can kind of ignore the next dragon if you really want to as G2 and just look for more of these turrets like they're doing at the moment. And BDS just don't have the pressure on the map or the tempo to match them.
Trying to force something.
Flash gonna go for the W, the nice lockup, instant follow-up coming in. Excellent equalizer, clean performance thus far. Broken Blade now running, he's gonna get burnt down. Adam finding the pick. Good kickoff there by LeBron. BDS need to get more out of this exchange. They've already lost the top lane tower. Are they even gonna let the Herald charge? They shouldn't. Pilot up and head for the second one.
Looks like they're going to continue the siege. I think this is smart. They need to get something back here, because look at Caps pushing in the bot wave. G2 also sent... Oh, Mickey has the flash, but they sent Hansama to mid while that play top was happening. Can they actually secure this tower, though? They have the numbers for the time being. They're going to keep the pressure up. Will G2 try and fight?
They can just turn onto G2 members as they come in, though. This is dangerous from G2.
Only 1840. There's not really anything else for BDS to get here.
The TP from Caps is close.
Ult from
G2 shepherding them. Yike on the way in, giving them the opportunity. Give up Sheo or get out. Sheo should just fall down here. BB on the way in. Mickey throwing down an early aggressive ultimate. BDS just trying to retreat. Broken Blade now coming in, but Queen goes down to safety. Dodges a lot of the initial CC, but now is going to be in trouble as well. Nice shockwave from Nuke! Punishing Broken Blade for overcommitting.
I mean, the G2 tried to get that fight started. I don't think they realized that Nuke had TP'd in because Caps was still pushing bot side. So yes, they would get the tier 2. It would cost BB his life. But a little bit of over-aggression there from BB on the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, because honestly, I think that the moment they saw that TP top, the fact that there were 5 people, I think G2 could have just disengaged from the fight immediately. Take advantage of the fact that you kept caps in the bot lane and you were able to get this tier 2 tower. In terms of gold, G2 still hold the leads, but I think BDS made the correct play here, using the Herald, trying to siege and securing another tower, and then G2 are trying to get something back. The moment this TP comes through, this is the point at which G2 need to disengage, but a bit of an overstep from Broken Blade gets aptly punished, and BDS get that extra bit more by securing that kill onto Broken Blade.
Yeah, and they definitely spotted it, because Caps actually stopped his reset on bot side to make sure he could get the tier 2 and nuke TPing in, so BB just not on the same page there and gets punished, so you can kind of see the problems now that will start to mount, because BDS will get to this next dragon, they try and look for a team for the third, but look at the amount of G2 members on this top side. They want to make sure that...
Wait.
G2 just going to hard force to the objective
Observers,
here.
can we see? Yeah,
Unspotted.
perfect.
Mickey waiting around. I think he's just clearing vision. Hotama clearing top, so they have no reason to assume that there are so many people here.
But they have to feel something is up soon. They don't see any G2 members on the map.
How much time are they going to give? To see someone go over the wall? They assume it's just normal.
And there's the Baron gone.
Stolen away.
That's...
and this is one of the things that's incredibly unique about the Azir. He's the only mid laner in the game right now other than Cassio, who no one is playing, that can do that. They can actually walk up to a Baron that early in the game and say, I have enough damage to essentially solo this out.
I mean, that's it's a shame that the replay kind of got in the way of seeing how all of that was set up, but you talked about, Dagda, how BDS went straight towards the Dragon, right? We know their win conditions, playing around these neutrals, forcing these 5v5s, it's obvious. And G2 kind of took advantage of that by sending Hansama top. They also had Mickey in the enemy jungle, and they're telling BDS, we're using the fact that you're going to Dragon to actually control your topside vision. And so then that dance happens around like, oh, it's just a back and forth trading for wards. They did not expect the Baron to just be taken underneath their nose.
When the Callista isn't at the objective, there's like no way they're taking the objective. But again, this is Azir, and then also 80 Twisted Fate. These are champions who are just going to obliterate objectives.
It's a clever macro move for sure. And it does feel like that BDS are just kind of getting run around the map right now. Well, they're finding good fights. They're punishing the mistakes that G2 make. But when it comes to the map movements, it feels like the G2 are finding a lot of their edges just by playing the map better.
But I think this has been the downfall of BDS even last year and coming into this year. Yes, their team fight has been spectacular. The individual performances have been significantly stronger, but BDS still struggle when it comes to setting up their sidelines correctly, when they need to reset, how they can try and approach the map, and even just getting vision in the right places at the right time.
Well, I think the nature of their comp also kind of forces them to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like you talked about it in the draft. It's really hard for them to actually match on sides. You've got a Rumble and an Orianna, two champions that ideally don't want to be sitting on a side lane, but ideally want to be forcing a 4-1 into then the 5v5.
And I think it's also a symptom of a lot of the times we see Adam taking like Flash Ghost champions and stuff like that as well. So you can't play outsides as effectively. So it's just something that they haven't been incredibly practiced on.
And I think when you look at the identity of G2, you can see how it could be considered a really difficult stylistic matchup for BDS. G2 are playing Twisted Fate top. They played Energizer LeBlanc mid. They're a team who will split you up and never give you a favorable 5v5. G2 are so fantastic at avoiding bad fights and trading objectives positively, and BDS's big strength is finding good fights. If G2 don't give you any fights, it's really hard to play to your team's strength.
Well, this is where we're going to see, hopefully, the strength of BDS now, because there are still opportunities for them to find these fights, and they are looking for them. Twisted Fate currently sitting in the mid lane, 4 members of G2 top. BDS matching in a 4-1.
They're splitting them up. If they ignore the Twisted Fate, he takes towers.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You got to move Ice back here, so you're just playing this slow back and forth. And I think a nice call from BDS there to realize that a couple of seconds before that mid wave hit the tower, but now waiting the Conga line is not in mid lane, so you can see BDS starting to slowly move back up towards that top side as well to punish G2. So you're not getting full value out of this Baron in the grand scheme of things. Like, no towers were really taken, and so for BDS, yes, some gold went across, but map pressure wasn't really there for G2.
A 1.5k gold lead for Broken Blades. Bear in mind, he's 0-2, and he's dead even in farm with Adam.
I was going to say, that's a little bit fake. This is obviously...
I know, but like that, it's to emphasize the changes, right? That passive utilization and how much gold you can just get on the champ.
I mean, it's just, it's 1-6 gold, and then your crit chance to get another 1-6. So it's making money moves.
Yep.
Crypto fans, have I got a champion for you? Quit shilling NFTs, come play AD Twisted Fate.
It reminds me of the Klepto touch. Do you remember Noggery?
Yes, and we used to have to talk about, there was like a Gangplank and an Ezreal with Klepto on the same team. You're like, guys, it says they're 3k ahead, but they're not 3k ahead. It's fake gold. Fake gold. They have not killed anyone. They have not done anything to earn this. They just, their dad has a hedge fund. I don't know what you want from them.
Now, the Dragon is spawning in 40 seconds. G2 are trying to get the control over mid and bot. They're using that to set up vision control around the enemy jungle, and BDS are slowly being suffocated out. Sheo wants to try and punish G2 as they enter their side of the map. Let's see if we can find something here. He sees Hansama.
Pushing down. Caps looking for an angle on the side lane. Right as Adam overheats. Clean flash out from Adam.
That's an ult committed, though, just before the Dragon spawns. Adam has the TP, and so does Caps.
Caps now no way to interrupt the TP, crucially, if Adam wants to commit. But Caps does do a lot of damage. 2.5 items. Adam has to be careful if he wants to go for it. BDS again. A lot of engage tools available. They're trying to just bully their way into the enemy jungle.
Caps will destroy towers, though. Lichbrain procs across multiple different towers is going to make it very, very difficult. So again, it is going to be third Dragon going across, but this is what I was saying for G2. I don't think they're going to try and force it. They're just going to try and play out the map, make sure that then from this point on, they're just playing for tempo, playing for leads on turrets, and forcing BDS into their side of the map. So when the next Dragon comes up, they don't have access to the map to try and make these sort of plays.
Just to fade all. Dash out safety. Tark stun now coming in for the follow-up. Sheo, decent chunk of damage. Again, the burst from the side of G2 is not high. They have 3 sustained damage carries.
Big stun by Labrov there to stop the follow-up from Yike. Just barely managed to hit him with the Q. So Yike looking for the ultimate, but wasn't quite able to follow up. So nicely done there to try and keep his team alive.
I mean, Broken Blade lost his summoners in that trade. I think it was still a win for BDS ultimately.
I think what we've learned is that Broken Blade a little fast and loose with the summoners this game.
He definitely has been. It does feel like his ghost is just up all the time.
Yeah. Also that he's mostly using it to run away from
That's
questionable
true.
plays that he may or may not have started.
But there's no way he could have vision of them, so you know it's
hard to say.
But I will say that BDS are still in a good position to turn this game around. The fact that they find themselves at Soul Point, that is a big opportunity. The only concern they have is that, like, okay, Baron, we now know, can be taken very quickly. We're going to respect that a lot more. We still see some good vision from them where they just get a little creative with where they put those wards down and make sure they still have information on when this is starting. And right now, they're setting up around this objective. But look at the minimap. Once again, you see Caps pushing in the bot lane. They're constantly keeping this point of pressure.
Is that you've got both Broken Blade and Caps who kind of just want to live on a side lane, but Sheo's all armor, and Caps is, I think, G2's effective only source of damage. So while I love the Caps side lane routine, it always looks good. If G2 ever do want a team fight, this is the only guy. This is the guy you need to look at.
But I mean, this is what they've done. I mean, now you got 2-level advantage on Rabadon's, and he's
back
gone.
there, Adam. You've just got no chance. There's too many soldiers. You're just one man against an empire. Caps now taking him down. G2 immediately started the objective. Sheo and LeBron can try to get into the pit. There's no magic damage there yet, so Sheo can survive for a decent amount of time, but the TP now coming in. Caps is finally going to be here. Sheo, Mickey ready to go over the wall if he needs to. 3K getting lower. Varus ultimate there. They'd love to knock a jungler out, but they're taking their time. Papillon not going to connect. Nice! Varus arrow! Gets it done!
Gets the kill onto Mickey. The Baron will still go towards G2, but that was very close. I got the exact same reaction. Don't worry. That was a bit of a doozy, but still, G2 get the Baron.
Sometimes you have to manifest the moment you want. Yeah. What I wanted was the crazy steal.
Yeah.
And it went down, and they put the game put that notification first. So I didn't even look at Mickey's face. I just assumed there was a purple worm there. I was like, he did it! Narrative!
I mean, Tarek, Baron, very similar looking.
Yeah, you know, Mount Targon, he's a big dude. He's jacked. What do you want from me? Bit of an oopsie there. Well, I've had food poisoning for like 4 days. So I'm just happy to not be in my bathroom, happy to be here on the desk. So bear with me in this game one.
But I mean, G2, they get the Baron off the back of that, and Caps level 18 on the Azir. Not only does he get the solo kill in the bot lane, this man has been chovying it up this game.
Yeah.
325 CS in 28.5 minutes.
I feel like people started calling VTO EU Chovy, and Caps took that personally.
But that's the thing, like, they do this all the time at Caps, especially when he's on his ear. He just gets so much of that side lane farm, and then he just comes in, he's like 3 levels above everyone and goes, what up, boys? I've got Rabadon's Death Cap, Void Staff on the way. I'm like, what are you going to do about it? You've got nothing you can compete with.
It was super interesting, because, Dr., one of the points you made just as we got into the game was that when we look back at the history of G2 versus BDS, it feels like that they always kind of have their number, right? BDS struggle against G2 when it comes to these best of 5s or just these series. And it feels like that even though the early game looked incredibly promising for BDS, they got an early gold lead, they controlled the early game well, they were setting up for these objectives. G2 just kind of made fun of them on the map. Broken Blade TP.
Coming in, Broken Blade again. Good sustain damage this time. Sheo does not have a lot of MR. Caps just shredding through that life bar. Will be forced to flash out to safety. Caps now following up, doing a bit more, but the entire team is ready to collapse. Broken Blade ready to interrupt with a stun card. Caps still committing anyway! Goes in, gets one, wants to try to make it two, and he gets another massive shutdown. Ice gonna grab that one, but Caps already got a double. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, G2 ready to end the game.
Caps legit 1v5 in it, and then the rest of G2 are in this bot side. Caps and Broken Blade causing such a ruckus that BDS had to drop everything.
BDS.
I mean, they can keep this going. They have the numbers advantage. Broken Blade is still pushing in top lane.
They've got so much pressure. Midwave will be coming shortly as well. It looks like might take a bit of time. I think G2 trying just to end here.
I mean, the only problem is Hansama not the longest range. Callista a little difficult to siege against these turrets. But now with the extra wave in top, it's a question of will BDS respawn in time?
X-Flash trying to threaten. Posed by a little space here. BDS know they've got at least one more life, but double inhibitors down and double side lane inhibitors is tricky.
I think they might need to try and TP for this, though. This is the Dragon. It's Infernal, so I wasn't sure if they wanted to try and clear out these waves and immediately try and push on, but it looks like it will be going over towards G2. Don't want to try and toss it away, because one more fight now for BDS, and that's the end of the game. And honestly, with the amount of control that G2 have, you just send BB to one lane, Yikes the other, you 3-man on mid, and you can always just contest Nexus towers or cracking up in mid lane. It feels so difficult for BDS to try and commit from this position.
So we look back at this fantastic play from Caps. He's overall had an incredible split. Broken Blade starts this one off by TPing in with the ultimate. Then Sheo gets chipped away. Dracos mentioned it earlier, 0 MR, and he just melts at the hands of Caps. He dives in. This is an overextension for all intent purposes. He should die here. And he says, all right, well, if I'm going out with a bang. Flashes in with the ultimate, does as much damage as possible to trade 2 for 1. And with the pressure on bot lane, they unlock the base and they tear it apart, and they avoid a fight around the Inferno Drake as well. And earlier we say BDS have the stronger 5v5. With Caps as strong as he is, I don't know if even if they find that 5v5 they can win it anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, especially Lich Bane is just such a strong item at the moment, and you can see how much damage he gets every time he's able to proc up with his Q or even setting up another soldier. So now G2 pushing in the mid. They've got super minions doing the work for them in side lanes, so they're just going to en masse come mid. They don't know where BB is in the map right now. He's been hidden from vision, so that's why BDS a little bit hesitant to just immediately jump on that play.
And I think, again, credit to G2 for navigating the mid-game so flawlessly. They now have such a significant gold advantage that they don't really have to be as worried about facing BDS in a straight-up 5v5. You highlighted it, Caps, incredibly oppressive. Only 3-1-1, but has a 4.4k individual gold lead just from the amount of side laning he's been doing, from the amount of towers he has been taking for himself. Easy pickup on Baron coming up in about a minute and 11 seconds. And yeah, that gold graph telling you the story. That little orange bit BDS is promising early game. The rest, the G2 elevator, it would appear.
This is what we call the Duffman.
The Duffman.
They talked a lot about it, bringing him in to specifically help with their changes to their mid-game, and credit to them, their mid-game has been impressive to watch. Now, the Twisted Fate ultimate thrown out once more, largely just for information. G2 know they have numbers in mid, and so their siege begins once more.
Even the TP coming in from BB, they just want a 5-man on this, make sure they're able to get the tower, but the wave may not survive long enough. Ice on this Barret, you've great ability to just clear out waves like that. So yes, they got it, yes, they get pushed, but it's going to actually be a reset coming through from G2 because BDS are in position.
See if BDS can clear the waves out fast enough to get mid control from G2 and maybe contest some of the Baron vision, because for now, the tower's still standing. Hansama going to wander down to the bottom side of the map, pick up a few more Souls of Cinder.
Observers, can we just see what BDS see on the map right now? Because it feels very dark.
They see Hansama taking their wolves.
You can see that they've mainly just got entry wards right now, and they have to commit this vision just to gaining some access. Now that the Baron is spawned, they're forcing their way in. They don't have that mid-wave control. They use their numbers to force their way through the jungle, and now it becomes this contest over vision once more. Control wards, though, refreshed, being invested by G2 to suffocate BDS. And look at that bot wave stacking up. Nuke is trying to answer on the top, but someone has to go and answer bot. And that's going to be G2's window to force a fight.
Yeah, this is where BDS want to try and find that fight, though. BB has to be with the team, no ultimate available for just a moment. So G2 just trying to play off the pushing waves, make sure that BDS actually can't get access to River to get vision, while Adam has to go and deal with that wave. So as soon as they see him, they start up Baron. But this is not going to be a wave that lasts long, yeah.
Nuke shockwave. Do they want to go for it? Once again, managed to lock down the Baron, lock that one out. Follow-up fight, not going very well for BDS yet. One knocked out by Sheo. Sheo trying to fire back. Nuka with a shockwave, not going to connect. Cavs finding yet another kill off to the side, and it looks like they're going to be able to return one back. Guides amidst the entire team. Let's see this damage coming in for the TF. He has to get it done. Excellent pushback from Caps. The Crypt Bloom coming through to provide a bit more healing, and in goes Broken Blade. Gold card to seal the deal. Give him a yellow and get him out of here. It's a triple for the TF.
It started off so well for BDS, but they just couldn't match G2 when it came to the mid-game macro. And now G2, they see the Nexus in their eyes.
G2 on the push for the finish, dismantling BDS in game one. BDS a promising start, but could not match G2 in the mid-game. Adaptation will be the name of the game as we head into game two, but this one, first blood in the favor of G2.
I was skeptical about this draft from G2, I will be honest. I wasn't really sure how it was going to piece together, but an incredibly well-played mid-game. Props to G2. BDS, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Certainly are. Definitely could be a tough task, but I imagine they have a lot more to show us. We'll just have to see. For now, though, we're going to send it to a quick break. When we return, the analyst desk and game two.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Lore!
Red Bull gives you wings.
Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the fight, Mickey now on the chase, flashing for the stun, forcing out the cleanse from Ice. But there should just be a quick turn back because Ice does not go down. BDS able to find the kill. Ice now looking to follow up. G2 over-committing.
As he didn't TP, okay. Fight, can you fight as
No
flash still. Yeah, no flash. Nice, okay, it's fine.
Very nice start. By the way, I don't know if we can pass
also
the
Baron,
dash. We have like, even me and Asir can do it.
Yeah, Asir, yeah, and you guys show? Yeah,
yeah, you can show. Okay, we're hitting it.
Okay, nice, good job.
Good job, boys.
And welcome back to the desk as G2 takes game 1 here in our match of the week. And we see them brainstorming backstage, getting ready for the second game already. And Jamara, thank you so much for joining us today. What was the story of this game for you?
I mean, for me, it was probably the largest macro battle I think I've seen in LEC this year. And you know, you say brainstorming, I feel like G2's brains were on the
Oh, they're already storming, it's fine.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it really felt like specifically the mid game when there weren't objectives, or neutral objectives up rather, that G2 always had a plan like laid out in front of them. They were willing and very happy to allow to play out, and if BDS reacted, it seemed like they always had something ready for whatever BDS were trying to throw at them in those spaces of dead time.
And it's aside, GB, the way we set up the stage for both these teams was actually the way they played the objectives. Didn't work out too much for BDS, but they threw their gameplay, sticking to it, and G2 on the other side, again, coming back in impressive fashion whenever it comes to objective control.
Yeah, I mean, it really started with the early games as well, right? Where at first, Adam's worried about, oh, they have TF, I need to make a move down. But as soon as he sees Broken Blade TP's top, they realize it's going to be a 4 versus 4. And this is where we see some mistakes from G2, because the fact that Shio is just allowed to place this pink ward and catch Caps immediately to split up the fight makes this very difficult for G2 to play. The fact that G2 isn't really using their summoner spells synced up together, like Hansama just flashing in like that, and allowing BDS to then regroup, makes it very difficult for them to continue the fight.
Yeah, it does kind of set them on the back foot, right? And from this point, it feels like a bit of an overchase where now G2 feel like they have the opportunity to step forward, but realistically, Ice hasn't used any of his summoner spells. His positioning from the beginning was always fine, and then able to use them reactively. Another mistake from Caps, a bit stepping into what felt like, again, was sort of BDS's territory, and even though it ends up being an ult trade, it still impacts this next fight here at the Dragon.
Yeah, and I think this makes it very difficult as well, because right now BDS doesn't have the same tools in a chokehold as they would like. The Varus ultimate is used on a Vi that pretty much denies it with her own ultimate. Mickey is ready with a primitive one, and as soon as they get the first pick by Broken Blade TPing in there, suddenly the tide start turning. But it's just every single time we had a Dragon fight, or at least for the first 2 Dragons that we had, small, micro things impacted how the fight was played out.
But also the way G2 was taking care of the map, and I want to know why wasn't BDS able to fight back in any case, because even though they were taking drakes, even though they were taking kills, it did not translate in anything on the map, Jamara. And in this sense, I had flashbacks of my time in the LCK last year, because G2 was really clean in the way they moved through the map this game.
Yeah, again, I mean, I feel like G2, once the Dragons were off the map, once there was no Herald available, well, BDS was the one that actually got their hands on that. They always, again, to me, it felt like they pick a side of the map and they will play for it. They had Caps on the side lane with teleport, ready to react if BDS overstep. And G2 were very happy to allow Caps to pick up whatever gold he would on the side lane, whilst the map effectively stayed in a bit of a neutral zone. G2 looking to, very happy to play reactive to then actually step on BDS's toes while they're trying to make the reactive play.
Yeah, I think we actually got a sequence of this as well that you're talking about, because we have these moments where it's cross-map into cross-map with teams trading all the time, into a moment here in the beginning of the tier 2 where it just starts at a pickup on BB. This sequence is going to go as long that he's going to respawn, he's going to be back into it with a very bad ultimate, but still, the way this works is that BDS is setting up on top side, they have the Herald, they want to force this down, but down on the bottom side as well, Caps is currently setting up for a push down to the tier 2 for himself, which means that they can trade this realistically speaking. Cap still has TP, but what they decide instead on G2 is to say, we do not need to go here. I'm going to cancel my back because I see Nuke TP and I'm going to get the turret for myself. And this gives Caps so much gold that allows them to have 2 items very early into the game that allows them to set up for the Baron. Now BB did misplay this sequence pretty heavily. He was the first one to get picked up and he ulted in to die immediately again after. But the way it didn't place out, with the bot lane now and the top lane faking this Baron at the same time.
Comically, they make the best of a pretty bad situation. It gives Caps 2 items. The wave also actually on the top side is what allows for G2 to push back out and then have them kind of set up this area of control where it's just like, okay, well, I I guess G2's bot lane is pushing out this wave as a response to what just happened. No, it's a feign for the Baron to be taken down.
And this was the big thing, because like a lot of players will maybe at times just look at the kills and see who gets ahead here. But I really recommend that you take a look at the map movements that G2 performed in this game. It's the reason that Caps remained as far ahead as he did, despite not having any kills. He was a threat. And then when it finally came down to it, well, he started picking up the kills. We saw the 2 versus 1 he was able to put, oh, well, 2 versus 4, or 1 versus 4, so it was up in that top lane, right? He ended up just being a monster, and that's even being behind in the early game.
Caps side lane god ? Honestly, in this game, that's what it came down to, and I'm just wondering how is BDS going to be able to fight back here. It looks like they want to approach things differently as they will be sitting on blue side for this game too. But what kind of improvements and adaptations do we want to see on the side of BDS? Because I feel like even looking at the draft, the Rumble felt awfully out of place here, and I wanna see them stay true to themselves, because it feels like with the way the game is played right now, they have enough tools. They don't have to dive into
I think my biggest problem with the Rumble is like a little less, it's on theme with BDS's comp,
yeah,
but it doesn't feel like it's really a good answer into what G2 have, right? And I think that's kind of the clear distinction for me. If you give Adam R5, you kind of want to give him a pick that's going to break the game, and it didn't feel like Rumble was a game-breaking pick to me when you're facing down Twisted Fate top. Yes, it's a very awkward pick to navigate, but things like the Olaf are up. If you wanted to go towards, I don't know how the Cassante works maybe, but definitely as sort of a pick that's going to disrupt the backline, I feel like that works a lot more as trying to stack on all of these ultimates, try and find the wombo combo. G2 saw that and just decided to go side lane the entire game.
But that really is the beauty of the best of 5 as well. There's a lot of ifs right now with these new introductions of champions, this new patch as well that we haven't seen. What does that mean for the teams as well when they go ahead it? Because yeah, you can have played against it in scrims at times, but maybe you haven't, and maybe you're just going to have to try out stuff for the first times on stage as well, and that makes this such an exciting one to approach.
It was the first Twisted Fate top we had in LEC history, but looking at G2 social, again, looks like a double to triple flex pick for G2, and I'm like, BDS saw a glimpse of the Twisted Face here in game 1. I'm just wondering if G2 is going to use it again, and how are they going to use it, and do they have more here?
Yeah, I mean, it felt overforced to me. I don't think the TF did as much as it could have done. I think that they could have left it open if they wanted to, but it felt like an unknown factor they might not have been dealing with. Crucially for me is that Team BDS has left the Maokai open and banned the LeBlanc now as well. The same for Brand. So they're definitely looking for a Brand or Maokai here, and with the Brand being banned for G2, or the Maokai being banned by G2, suddenly this Brand races in priority.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's questions of the AD carry Varus, the Kalista. Varus is what BDS are going to prioritize here. So G2, the ball is in your court if you want that Brand yourselves as well as things like what I was kind of looking at before this series kicked off was actually the mid lane pool. With the Azir banned, Nuke has only played 3 champions so far this split. I don't think it's going to be pinched here, but I do wonder if G2 are ever going to go down that avenue to try and try and push him off of those 3 champions. That would be the Azir, the Orianna, which we saw last game, and then the Nico, because that could also be a very valid way to try and shut down BDS, just like they did in game number 1. He will get his hands on the Orianna, it looks like, as G2 did pick up the Cassante alongside that Kalista.
Yeah, I think the Azir ban is really interesting. I think G2 was thinking that Nuke might have first picked Azir for BDS, and then they feel like that's such a powerful champion, which it is. But now at least he gets the Orianna to play around with as well. I'm just curious to see what Caps wants into that now as well, because his own mid lane pool has been trimmed quite a bit with the LeBlanc gone, with the Azir gone as well. There is still a Nico, which we know he's had a lot of fun with in the past, but there's still so many questions.
Ooh, wow. The Brav Blitzcrank, it's been deadly in the past, and I feel like you want to be aggressive like this.
Yeah, I mean, whilst the Brav has definitely been hitting the mark, I kind of prefer him on things that will set up team fights as a whole. This is more obviously a playmaking pick tool. G2 will answer it with the Braum, so could be a little bit difficult to navigate in lane, but if the map starts to open up a little bit, there's always the opportunity of Blitzcrank might miss about 5 hooks in a row for 10 minutes, but all it takes is him landing 1 onto a key carry. So we'll track LeBron very keenly throughout the game to see exactly how he's going to deal, not just with the lane, but once the map starts to open up, as G2 definitely navigated the map openly very well last time.
Yeah, so junglers you can start taking away from Shio. By blind picking the Cassante, it just makes me feel like there's not really any top lane of Adam that you're too worried about. But then again, I don't know the matchup of a lot of Adam's champions, so it's hard for me to say in that regard. But it looks like they're just going to continue to pin Shio just a bit. Vi's been out, Rail is still available.
Yeah, it seems like G2's focus is going to be the junglers, despite not necessarily having one themselves. Adam could always lean back on the Garen if he feels like it's, you know, his answer.
One of his classics into Kalista specifically in Team 5.
And, you know, there's 2 for 2 on G2's side, so I'm actually kind of wondering if G2 are wondering about pivoting off of a double jungle ban towards it. No, they want the Poppy. They feel like it's going to be too big an issue for the team fighting side of things if they let it go through this time around. And for BDS, I mean, is it just another caps ban?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I think the brand, for example, is falling fully out of favor because you already have an AP mid on Orianna. If you take an AD mid, if you pick an AP jungler on G2, they usually don't do too well into Orianna when they have to walk into her. So I think that's just going to be out of the question. I feel like you're just going to pinch caps as much as you can. No, the Yike Belvet is coming through as a response here.
Yeah, I'm really kind of scratching my head at what exactly G2 will go towards as a prio.
Oh,
Lilia.
they
So they're going to
still go for AP. Okay, so they...
Lilia Yone? Is this what this is?
It's another G2 classic. We've seen it before. We know how well they can play on these duos.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely can. And Lilia's the kind of champion which, for Yike, I feel like he could very easily take over a jungle matchup if he's got priority. And I feel like across the board right now, bottom lane should have prio. Top side, if this does go through, as Adam going towards the Gnar, Casante's got pretty strong windows to all in him once the level 6 rolls through. So I feel like that's not going to be an issue either. And Sheo, with all of these jungle bans, I guess, yeah, Xin Zhao's still up, so he's going to have a strong skirmishing option. But again, I feel like once the level 6 rolls through, I am speaking about this and anticipating this will be a caps Yone. It could be quite a few other AD options, but
the thing is, like,
will come through.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Tristana, I've spoken to so many of the mid laners, like, when they see Orianna, they don't want to go Tristana. Like, so many times that goes wrong for them. They still pick it at times and then, because they think they can beat the matchup still, but we don't often see it.
Akali or Sylas?
Akali, Sylas, I mean, they definitely want a skirmisher. That's the main thing. They want something that's
I think you're right on the money.
Yeah, it just makes too much sense.
Do it.
And it's the most fun, by far. Oh, wow!
That makes it even more fun, doesn't it? We go back to the classic.
Is it going mid lane? Or do you see BB on mid lane?
That should be mid lane. What?
No, that could be top.
That's
Yasuo into Gnar. Yes, it's Yasuo into Gnar. It's a classic. It's a classic.
I don't see any surprises when I look at the champions that G2 are playing right now, because even though there's a lot of flex, this is what they do. On the side of BDS, that's the champion that brought them the most success so far, on the outside of Gnar being a first for Adam this year. What do we make of this? Who's taking this one? And is it the adjustments you want to see from BDS?
No.
No,
flatly. I feel like, to me, BDS are really honing in on the fact that their strength has been team fighting, which is obviously great. You want to see a team play into their strengths. But G2 just dismantled you on the side lanes.
Yoning in.
And again, to me, G2, they can play sides. They can play team fights really well. They've got decent amounts of pick through those ultimates of Lilia and Yasuo. So I'm very, very worried for BDS. They're going to have to try and force G2 into opportunities where they can actually 5v5.
Well, let's see if G2 can move on to match point as we hit the rift for game 2.
Thank you very much, Lore. And another banging draft. I feel like BDS, they've got what they want. Very similar. It's stable. It's ready to fight under mostly 5v5 circumstances. A little bit on the side lane as well. G2, they've cooked the same thing, and it's spicy, I'll tell you, but I don't think it's as threatening as the previous draft.
I mean, I didn't think the previous draft was that threatening, and then they proved me wrong. I mean, I'll be honest, my perception on... I mean, I will say that Europe just likes to fight a lot, right? Like, we have a lot of skirmishes, we have a lot of fights around neutrals.
Oh, you mean the LEC? Okay, okay. I wasn't sure if that was a greater historical point.
No, right now. And I think that G2 are trying to separate themselves from the pack by just playing around the map very well.
No one answered Sheo.
Is that a fist bump? I saw the thumbs up, though.
Yeah, because he got left alone. Nobody fist bumped him.
Fun fact, though, we saw the Gnar locked in for Adam. I was like, Adam? Gnar? Had a look through his history. This man has 15 games across his career with an 87% win rate.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. There are so many other Gnar players that I can think of. I never associated with Adam.
Played it more than Garen. So technically, that's the G in Gods. It's just the lesser known, much less sexy version of that G.
It's the silent G. It's the silent G.
It's that everyone remembers Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. No one remembers Artemis, you know?
The big three, man. You don't get anything for loving animals. So you gotta rule the seas or the underworld or lightning or whatever.
Anyway, Cassante mid, we also made the joke that Caps really is chovying today.
Yeah, definitely coming true. Labrov stepping forward there briefly, sees a Braum and goes, yeah, never mind. Definitely not a champion you want to hook level 1. And yeah, Cassante mid, we were talking about it a little bit while the desk was doing picks and bans. If you're wondering how, let's remind you of the new season. Is there an item that comes to your mind? Say it with me. Kainic Rooker. There it is. Anytime you're good against an AP champion suddenly? That's probably why.
Yeah, Casante's just going to build full tank. So, no crazy
and do damage, which is normal Casante things, but now in mid.
Yeah, I mean, like, in particular, I do remember, I'm pretty sure it was Chovy that just solo killed an Orianna in this matchup on Casante. That was before Kanik Rookham was a thing.
Yeah, and to be fair, last year when Casante mid was good, our region sucked at it. So I'm curious to see if we're better at it, because I was sweating when we were heading into MSI, and we had seen a single Caps game on Casante where he dove a tower and immediately died.
I do remember that.
So hoping for a different performance this time around. We'll see how he fares against the Orianna early on, as Broken Blade and Adam are trading. Of course, the flex there was to secure Broken Blade. This matchup, the considered slightly favorable Yasuo versus Gnar matchup. And it looks significantly favorable right now, but Adam has that Fury Bar, can just transform in an instant. And Broken Blade...
He doesn't know.
Oh, he doesn't know. Knockup's good. Sheo can just make wind become lightning. Broken Blade will surely become mincemeat.
If he takes it, he does flash over the wall.
Dash through him, flash over, flash out. He's running, but that's a red buff.
The red.
Extra Q. Whoa! First blood going through. Don't know if he needed to burn the flash, but gets a flash for flash at least. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, here comes Lilia. Fawn on the way in. Ice already fighting the kill. They're not going to get one back. LeBron, the last man standing, left all alone under his towers with no carries left.
So 1-for-1 in the bot lane. A successful gank in the top side of the map. Sheo looking for another play, though.
Adam. A little bit more damage follow up there. Q3 available. Fired back onto Adam. They just want to push this wave in.
That's the thing, they get the TP still for Adam, so chip damage on BB is actually just going to stick around and be super nice. So Adam getting a great advantage now in this top matchup, which BB has played before, but definitely had a better time in that matchup, I'll say. Whereas on the bottom half of the map, things went very differently. But we're just going to see Sheo. I mean, nice gank timing, manages to get up here, and there's nothing BB can do in this position.
Yeah, I
break this down, Betty. What happened here?
So there was a bit of a mental game here, because Sheo knew the moment that he went over the wall, there was an opportunity for Broken Blade to flash. So he immediately flashes to close that gap, and then Broken Blade tries to flash away. The red buff, though, acting as an effective throw. Mickey diving this deep was surprising, because it ultimately entered a 1-for-1. The good news for G2 is it's 80 carry for support trades, which means that some farm was lost, but like I don't think Ice is too upset about that, because you can see the goal difference not that significant. Overall, I think BDS is happy with the overall trades that they got on the map.
It is a little bit of an awkward back timer, though, because he only has double longsword and not the full serrated Dirk. But again, yeah, I don't think it's the biggest concern. The one who has a much more unfortunate back is Broken Blade on the top side. Only a dagger and a refillable. You really want boots, too, as early as possible in 90% of situations as Yasuo, because it's just such a strong early purchase. Not having that on recall, not knowing when you're going to get that next opportunity for a clean recall, though it seems it should just be here, can put you far behind early on. Good news is Broken Blade, even without it, still able to find top lane push and get a chance to reset.
Yeah, I mean, with the fact that the wave was coming bouncing back off, managing to pick up all that. I even saw Mickey moving in towards mid to make sure the Caps was going to have a little bit of an easier time CSing some of this as well, because he hasn't really got to the position where he has that early no magic mantle for himself to keep himself topped up, or and as well, having these biscuits is very quickly going to start to burn through them. But Nuke having no mana, though, he's managed to survive the worst part of this laning phase, and now he kind of just gets to chill once he goes back and pick up that white cloak for himself.
And it's frustrating for Nuke, because even if you feel like you're getting a slight advantage and you have the push, and now you have Lost Chapter, you're going to feel like it's a little bit of a bigger advantage. Eventually, you're just not going to do anything to Cassante. And it is kind of just Nuke versus the amount of money it costs to buy a Kanik Rooker. So for now, see if he can extend that lead any further. Level 6 now coming in, Shockwave, great opportunity. Unstoppable for Caps is clutch there to get him out to safety.
I mean, well played from both sides. Nuke recognizing this guy's in kill range.
Wants the kill.
Ooh, goes for it. We'll take a tower shot, but he's not too upset about that. Nuke had a great laning phase in game 1, really bullying Caps out and getting a healthy lane lead. He's trying to replicate that performance in this game. Fortunately, with the TP going to come through from Caps, that damage isn't going to stick, and there's the early Merc treads. Now, Dragon being started off, fresh base coming out from Caps, but 4 members on this Dragon for BDS.
Nuke
Adam is here as well.
Adam on the way. No Shockwave for Nuke, and G2 know it. Favored if they have equal members just because of the early power of the Braum and skirmishes, but Sheo very strong early on. Caps doesn't really have an angle in. LeBron now fishing for a hook. Can he hit Han Sama? Flash out. He certainly could have. Flash will take Han Sama to safety, and BDS just walk in and take the objective. Thanks for the leash.
It's a good read from G2, though. They're like, where the hell is Adam? We haven't seen him on top wave, and BB's about to hit his turret, so they're kind of expecting something to be cooking from BDS, so don't overextend to try and fight the Dragon and then end up giving lives as well. So at least BDS, with the TP now back top, just bully G2 off, and BDS, I mean, again, keeping control of the early game.
Nice pushback, good damage coming in for Caps. Gonna try to take him away from the tower. Is gonna be able to do so successfully. Nuke forced to flash out.
K'Sante.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen it once, and you're gonna see it again every week until they nerf it.
So, I mean, Control Mage is also just kind of like, there's not much you can do against it, right? Like, it's just, if he's able to get that knock up and lock you down, you are just forced to flash. So, Caps will get the flash out from Nuke. Did want to just quickly go back, because that play from Adam is something that we do see a lot from him as a player. He's talked about it multiple times in interview. He wants to try and do what he can for the team. He is going to lose a bit of gold as a result of that. The flash is forced out as Yike looks for an opportunity there as well. But I just like the idea that he doesn't have to immediately TP back to top. He instead uses that window to go and try and help his team. And credit to him, because I think that even if he wasn't there, they still probably would have secured the Dragon. But just that presence of mind where Adam is very team focused and trying to support his team is something that has contributed a lot to BDS's success this split.
I mean, I think it certainly has. And across the board, I think BDS have had just a fantastic regular season, no doubt, and an even cleaner road than G2 getting here in a lot of respects. G2, of course, dropping Gain and Fnatic, BDS 2-0s across the board. The other big part of that for me is Nuke. He's doing well on this Orianna, but I think, as highlighted, is going to be in a really difficult situation the longer this laning phase goes on. That said, when you look at, you know, straight up simple front to back, it's easy to see how BDS win the game, and so it's on G2 again in this game, kind of as it was in game 1, to continuously split up the map and show us how dominant they can be in the mid game again and stop BDS from finding those full-on 5v5 angles.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do that right now, moving up towards BD. Shale in position though.
Tornado going wide is big there. Wind wall to block the boomerang. Another Q3 available. BB's just, he's dancing back. He's just doing Yasuo things.
But this is the difference from last game, right? G2 feel less pressure to try and move down towards bot side, because you got a Braum, you're not really going to be able to get very much down in that bot lane, and you've kind of neutralized that matchup with Mickey into the Blitzcrank, so you're going to be able to put a lot more pressure towards BEB in this top side and see if you can get that early lead. And once you do, it becomes very difficult to deal with this Yasuo as you start to get into the later portion of the games. And if you start to get like the knockbacks from K'Sante, knock up from Mickey, big Yike ults as well to try and set them up, they're in a great spot.
Knock up, stepping forward here. 3 stacks and concussive blows. Braum going to flash out to safety. Nice root coming in, just barely able to connect on a Hansama there.
Wow. Pressure coming down from the G2 bot lane. Labrov wasn't expecting him to be forced to flash there, but he's respecting the potential damage. Seeing Sheo on the map, he is pathing towards the bot side. Oh, Broken Blade's actually going to pick up the Scuttle Crab on top, and Caps going to use his mid-prio to get a bit of information, see what he can fish out. Looks like for now his priority is just clearing out this vision. Dragon in about 1:45. You imagine that'll be the next major objective. Is Caps in danger?
Caps potentially over-eager here. Unstoppable going to take LeBron out and fish for the 1v1. Unstoppable now going to go back in. Yike on the way forward. They're just going to grab a quick support kill. They're now going to finish off Caps. Clean combination over the wall. Is there any follow-up here? Piercing arrow going to be mitigated. Ulti coming in from Calista just in time to save the day.
I hate that. The fact that Caps is way overextended. He's like, Labrov, get over here. We're going to
I actually 100% think I know why K'Sante is too good and will always be too good. Do you want to hear my thing?
Tell me.
He decides when you fight. He is a tank who ignores all damage until he decides it's time for you to fight on even terms. And so if you have hands and you're decent at this champion, you always get to pick good fights forever. And when you're not picking good fights, you are unkillable. You cannot die. You cannot be punished. So when you're playing Orianna, who has a very limited number of situations where she's like, yeah, this is a good fight for me, you're never going to have fun against a K'Sante.
I mean, the good news is that Caps did end up losing his life in that exchange, which means the Nuke able to push out that wave, get a decent CS lead now, goes back on a nice base, has a decent amount of damage. So entering this mid game, she's going to be in a strong spot, which is ideally what you want from BDS, right? Their wombo combo is one of the biggest strengths of this composition. We've seen them execute this same or a similar draft to this before, where you have the Xin Zhao engaged, the Orianna ball on top, and they make it work. The gold is dead even right now. The kill's slightly in favor of BDS. We'll see how things translate as the Dragon now spawning in 15 seconds.
I think you've even got the opportunity to try and unlock Labrov a little bit when it gets towards the mid-game too, where if you can link up with Shale, you just try and fish for hooks over the walls. Like if you spot Yike, if you can try and catch like BB overextending the side lane, like you actually have members that you can very quickly catch out. Once you're playing away from Caps or Mickey, like realistically, you've got good options here for BDS. So if they're able to keep control of this, they should be in as good good spot. Again, the only big problem for them is if BB can get this lead in the top side. And at the moment, it's somewhat there, but it's not massive where they have to be concerned at the moment.
Yeah, crazy how close so many of these early games end up being. Consistently just dead to even in gold, very often coming down to the mid game where the gold leads start to explode as the towers fall. G2 gonna match up here, 1-1 should just be the score on Drakes. See if they can get anything else. Only the 3 Void Grubs coming across thus far.
Looks like BDS have their eyes on top. You see the Brawl making his way up there. The Grub's going to be spawning any second. Should be an easy cross map. What they go for the dive as well, though. Ward is going to be spotted out by the sweeper. The problem is the amount of control they have. You can see Cassante now feels very confident to get that push. Broken Blade recognizes that he is in danger. How would G2 cross map? The problem is there is the cross map. Look, BDS have actually sent Ice up towards top lane as well.
And G2 already got the bot lane objective, so it's really easy for BDS to force a dive, get a tower, and get the 6 grub buff, which is pretty significant at this stage of the game. Bar's going to do a lot of damage to this tower as well. Alongside Adam, we'll see how many more plates they can get down. They're starting the grubs at the same time. So in the tower race right now, BDS, bad news is they didn't cut the wave, so it's going to be a little bit slower than what G2 are going to be able to do right here in bot lane.
The only advantage, I would say, is that Hansama got the full plates, whereas this one was shared. If Ice can get another one, of course, he should still be victorious overall in terms of gold. But the Yasuo TPing in bot lane to get that tempo advantage. I wonder if this tower is actually going to fall or not. Like, the resistance is pretty significant.
They have the 6 grub buff now. They're going to do enough true damage just over time.
Top will fall. I don't know if bot will. I
mean, Adam should get there in time, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think you actually BDS win out on this because you get the
grubs matter! Guys, we proved it! Grubs matter!
But I think that's the thing right here. You get the push on top. You get the extra advantage. Now, Adam's here to clear out. So BDS, they just had that tempo lead, even though BB TP'd in. I think Hans needed to stick around for a little while. But either way, like BDS just playing out the fact that they have the faster push. Now they get the reset quicker and they can start to move out, particularly for Rift Tower that's just up in a couple of seconds. They can actually push in mid-wave because Varus is reset quicker and then use that mid-pressure to play for the Rift Tower.
And when BDS are ahead on tempo, it's really just hard in general for G2 to play the game if they're not willing to force a fight, because again, their wave clear is not good. Every single one of their champions pretty lackluster compared to their opposing number. G2 though, just trying to force the objective down, try to bring BDS to them. Broken Blade trying to get a little bit of mid-power, or at least match what Varus is bringing to the table as Mickey just threatens. Nuke now coming in, level 11, 2 points on that shockwave. Sheo looking to be the ball delivery system, but they don't want to burn it on a single target. Instead, the objective is the focus, but only one jungler is next to it for now. Yike now prancing his way in. Caps fishing for a flank, looking for the angle. G2 ready to force the fight. They've already gotten the Herald. They want to get a little bit more. Sheo isolated. Nuke nowhere to be found, and the jungler is already dead. It's too late for BDS. A split call overall, and now Orianna going to be the one in trouble, looking for a little bit of follow-up here. Nuke going to be forced to flash out of safety. The rest of BDS now trying to find the backside. Eyes on Adam! It's 3! Immediately into the wall for follow-up, but now they've been brought back. A clean combo! Cassandra and the Yasuo to bring them out of the fight, but BDS are there. They're ready to turn. After 2 games, they're finally finding their fight, but it's G2 coming out on top. Eyes on Broken Blade. 2 Q stacks, 1 Q stack, ready to go. Wind wall, 4th concussive blow. He just needs to land the Q, but he doesn't quite have the timing. Vicky looking to land the Q over the wall. He does manage to connect it. Ice gonna be in trouble. That's been his stun coming in. Fuck kill follow-up is there. Yike on a rampage. G2 getting the fight.
A perfect ward placement for Caps to come into the fight means that BDS had to abandon everything on the Rift Herald, and they just cannot get into position. Adam had walked his way from bot side and was in mid lane as everything kicked off. But you can see here, BDS, they're able to contest the mid-push. Yike flashes over the wall, and with that then G2 and the TP coming in. BB, great flank position. Caps, great flank position. Nuke separated from the team. And it means that this isn't an even fight for BDS, even though all members in theory are present.
Love the re-engage from BDS though. Nuke, yeah, he has to flash away here, but look, a bit of a blunder. Mickey ends up going into the wall, so the follow-up can't come through the flash, but then watch Adam here. Beautiful 3-person ultimate. Locks them down. And that means that Adam is then dragged away, but he's able to regroup with his team. It's at this point where I'm thinking G2 don't actually quite have the damage. They get that execute down onto Caps, but now BDS really have ran out of steam. They are too broken up. And then Mickey able to connect the Q and then dash over to safety as well. means that it ends up being a single kill in favor and the Herald going to G2. Very close back and forth exchange.
And I'm not 100%, but I think Nuke might have even had that ultimate up for the entirety of that fight. I needed to double check, which means that, like, if he was actually able to be present for that fight with how low G2 were with the Adam combo, that could have been it behind.
Nice size from Hansama. Dashes back over the wall, trying to turn that back onto ice. But it's a good call out, Dagda. You're completely correct. Nuke and Sheo were looking for the setup, trying to find the angle. Then Nuke backs off, Sheo continues to step forward, and that's when G2 pounced on the fight. And Vetty, while it's comedic that Mickey didn't make it over the wall, it actually stops Ice from doing damage and ends up being the better play in the context of the fight. Brokenboy, though, now chasing onto Sheo. Sheo going to try to make it out to safety, just barely getting away from that tornado. As G2 taking full control of the top side. And while earlier I said, hey, losing out on tempo, G2's comp's going to feel pretty tough to play. When they've got a lead like this and they can bully into mid, it's going to feel damn good. LeBrob looking to fish. But immediate pullback from the ulti. Adam now coming in, has locked up the Callista. Ice trying to free fire. A brief moment where the Braum Unbreakable is down, and they're going to try to find a little bit more damage back. Ice not connecting the arrow is crucial there. Already one going down. Tower dropping on the bottom side in the meantime. 2 quick kills picked over to the side of G2 Esports. Caps.
He chooses not to ult. Looks like he doesn't want to overcommit the play. They know the Dragon is up, and that's their objective. BDS, I like the idea, the TP into the mid lane. They have the Orianna Shockwave, but it only connects onto Mickey, who doesn't even lose his life in the exchange. And Hansama is able to sidestep that oncoming onslaught, and then they can just focus down Adam, who is the only target that is really any real threat to them. So we'll look back at this re-engage. The Hex Flash over the wall looks like a good collapse possibility, but keep your eyes on Hans here. A good ultimate from Adam, but then the wall acting as Mickey, then the Shockwave doesn't quite connect, only hits onto Mickey, and then Adam has to lose his life. Yike then doing enough damage. LeBron probably wasn't expecting that to actually get that extra kill, making it a 2-for-0 and a Dragon to boot.
Also, the Mickey knockup prevented the wall up from Adam. So there was no real way to try and keep Hansama locked up after the initial Gnar had gone into the wall. So big upset coming through there with Mickey being able to disrupt that. So nicely done. Where then Hans doesn't even have to burn Cleanse to try and get away from that fight. Still has it now. Flash going to be up soon as well. And as you start to look towards things like, look, I know it's 19.5 or 18.5 minutes, but barring in a minute 20, like having that available, we've seen the G2 are no problem going for some of these early objectives as well this series. So nicely done by the G2 bot lane to keep themselves nicely topped up.
Yeah, close to Yasuo, potentially champions who could look to take that major objective, and Yike is incredibly strong. Something we've kind of grown accustomed to when we see him on this Lilia, but double burn items, or double mask items, going to feel very good this stage of the game. Both the Riftmaker and the Leandri's Torment. He hurts, as LeBron found out in the previous fight, and now he's driving his way down the mid lane. They really want to break this mid lane tower. Should just be able to grab it here. Mickey X with the Unbreakable still up and available. Hansama with the ulti as well, it looks like. Oh, not going to be forced to use it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he actually didn't use the ult there. Instead, Mickey chooses to flash away. I'm pretty sure it is up. But all right, fair enough. They hold on to it for now. Mickey not going to be too upset with losing his flash, given that he does have the Callista ultimate still. But G2 find themselves with a gold lead once again. It feels like BDS. One of the biggest things you said about them is regardless of the state that they're in, they always find a way to get a good team fight. And it feels like that is the hardest thing to do against G2. That multiple times we've seen opportunities and then they're typically good synchronization just gets disrupted. Like the summary that Dagda gave in that earlier fight was everyone is split apart, right? Yeah. And then by the time that they were all finally able to group up together, the health bars just weren't quite there and everything fell apart. So we're still waiting to see this one-sided 5v5 in favor of BDS. And they're going to need to find that optimal setup to force G2 into that scenario, because unless Nuke can land that Shockwave onto those optimal targets, it's going to be difficult to navigate their way around, especially with this prancing Yike, who's just going to consistently do that DPS. The ever-moving Hansama, like the Yasuo that's waiting for the knockup, right? It's an obnoxious comp to play into.
And I think for BDS, it's a tough reckoning to face down, right? Because something that you have been so good at against the vast majority of teams in our league, G2 are also good at. They're also good at picking good fights. They recognize your windows of opportunity and are not willing to just give them to you. BDS's mid game is good, much better than just about everybody else's in our league. but definitely not better than G2's, and that's putting them in a really tough spot because G2 say, you want to fight right now? Great. We're going to wait for Orianna to back up, and in that split second, we're going to pull the trigger because we recognize that's your moment of weakness. And BDS haven't been contested like that against most teams.
But I also want to draw attention to the way like G2 are playing at the moment, because what you'll often see is when you have a blitzcrank on the opposite team, it's very difficult for you to try and contest for like deeper vision, right? But G2 are never trying to overextend in these moments, but they're also constantly hiding where BB and Caps are on the map. So watch, as soon as these waves get pushed in, there's no vision in the river. There's no vision really in their own bot side jungle. So all the BB and Caps are doing is just rotating out a lane, hiding, and making it impossible for Labrov to actually go for any sort of hook. Because if you go for a hook, there's a high chance there's suddenly 5 members of G2 there and they immediately pounce on you, right? Or you have to burn a TP to try and match that play. So it's becoming very difficult for BDS to try and find these windows where they can play off of a blitzcrank hook to get them back into this game, even though that is always a possibility.
That's so annoying. Adam's just walking mid and he gets hit by a Lily.
It's a little comedic where Ice is like, oh, graciously sidestep, and the Yordle just walks in and just
Also, we do have to say, we made a big deal about Kaning. He doesn't go for Kaning Roof.
No, interesting. Hollow Radiance. So just to have the wave clear, any MR will do, it appears. You'd assume that Kaning Rookarn would be...
It's like, no, any MR's fine. I'm good.
I'm Cassante, I don't know.
Yeah. Infinity Edge done as well for Yasuo means that he's now a side lane problem. I mean, he was already a bit of one earlier, but now he's a real problem.
And Randuin's is going to feel like a good counter purchase from Adam.
Oh,
but
for sure.
If you mismatch the lanes at all, that IE kind of shred through that Varus especially quite quickly.
Caps, we consistently see him move into side lanes and push very deep into those sides. Hasn't been forced to use the TP just yet. Nuke does have a slight experience advantage, but the Dragon spawning in about 25 seconds. What are BDS going to do? Because when we look at the map, it is G2 that is first to the objective once again. Nuke is making his way down to group up with the team. BDS are looking to use their numbers to force control over this wave, and if they can unlock this tower, then it makes accessing the river that much easier. But now with numbers, let's see what they can do.
TP coming in
TP from behind. BDS, what's the call? Double TP now coming in. Caps immediately going to go in, fishing for the Q3 onto Ice. Going to isolate Ice and make sure that he doesn't have a support to cover. Mickey now looking for the knock. He's going to connect onto Nuke. Broken Blade immediately into the backline. Adam trying to disengage as quickly as he can, but both carries are scattered. They can't even get a chance to do any damage whatsoever. G2 trying to break through the front line. Yasuo down. Clean coming in from LeBron to finish off the kill there, but Caps goes in, hitting 2 with the Q3. Kasanting his way through the backline. Top lane, mid lane. It doesn't matter. That's a damn powerful pick.
I was watching the end of that fight going, G2, you're only 3 members. There are 4 on BDS, and they're starting to reunite. They're starting to find their opportunity to turn around. And Caps goes, nah, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to go in. I'm going to absolutely destroy you. Yike, dealing so much damage on this Lilia. And just like that, G2 are able to pick up the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that was a really good fight for BDS. Right? Yeah. They were retreating while also getting 2 kills. And I thought, if you can just get to your tower, you'll be fine. You can then reset, make your way back out onto the map. You can contest the Dragon, even threaten the Baron. You have a lot of options. This is an overstep from G2. And we look at the start of this, Ice actually gets away to safety here. Flashes away, the ultimate doesn't connect, the Guardian procs, gets away from the Yasuo, he's looking good. BDS gets that initial kill, then the Yasuo drops. And it's at this point you're thinking, okay, as long as BDS can disengage, they're fine. But then Cap sits there and goes, hey, want to see me Cassante? And he gets a 2-man knockback, closes the gap onto Ice, and in a 3 versus 4 closeout to the fight, G2 end up closing it out.
And I think the big thing there is that single moment of overconfidence where BDS stepped back into that brush, costing them dearly. G2 now just trying to force another fight. Sheo's ult coming up just in time. Knock up there. Good start, Yike. Buys a moment. Will it be enough? Damage follow-up. Nice shockwave onto 2. Caps waiting for his chance to go over the wall. Hansama flashing out to safety. Still standing. Broken Blade trying to turn this one back. Just dashing. Getting a bit more room. Knock up there. Broken Blade immediately going to ult, but probably just going to die for it. No reason to commit back in. Crypt Bloom healing coming in. BDS looking strong. Denying so much of what the Baron could have given G2.
Finally, BDS punished the over-aggression from G2. Sheo tanks up so much damage. Initially looking like he's caught out, but he has the ultimate to buy enough time. Yike ends up over the wall, and G2 are in this very awkward spot that give BDS a lot of space to play with. They get a bunch of flashes out from G2. They find themselves a kill onto Broken Blades, and now they've alleviated some of the pressure that G2 have been putting down all game.
And that's just the perfect spot for BDS to fight, right? You have multiple different opportunities to spread out. Nuke can go one way, Ice goes another. You get great control of that choke zone as you start to come through with Ice and Nuke's ultimates. We got to see it there where Hansama gets caught out by it. Like, that was not the position that you want to be fighting as G2. And as you say, mate, it's just overconfidence from G2 right now.
Adam can just fall off and lay down a bunch of CC. Should be an easy kill onto him. Flashing back out, but Ice gives him a little present on his way out, sends him straight to the grave.
Nicely done. Another good punish, and we can see the overconfidence starting to rear its head from G2. We've seen them lose games like this before. With the gold lead that they have, you would naturally favor them moving forward in this game. But BDS, they're holding strong, and they're finding good opportunities to punish this G2 squad. That Baron, only a 700 gold lead in favor of G2.
And we said it earlier, when BDS get the 5v5, they're so damn good at 5v5ing, and it was only a tiny mistake in the first fight that allowed G2 to come out on top. G2 get over-eager in the second, and BDS are quick to remind them of that. Even quicker to remind Mickey. He's got no business being in that jungle without Hans in the area to kind of bail him out. Trickier now for G2. Yes, they have a sizable gold lead, but again, when it comes to team fights, things only get easier for BDS as Nuke gets more and more damage under his belt.
And look at this. Yike, no flash. Hansaman, no flash. Mickey, no flash. Caps, his flash should be up the next time you expect to fight, whereas BDS's summoners all coming back off. So if BDS can find a window while these summoner spells are down, there's a very good opportunity for them to come out ahead in this next fight. The only problem for them is there's no real objective for them to fight over. Dragon is still 3 minutes away. By that time, you're likely going to see all these summoner spells back up, but I'd love to see BDS try and force something in this window where they have a clear summoner spell advantage.
It's so hard when you've got like Yasuo who's going to control side lanes, trying to get that push. You can try and maybe look for a hook here with Labrov as G2 try and get vision, but with the amount of control that G2 have on the map, trying to be the ones to force a fight is really, really difficult when you're behind like this. So I don't know how BDS, unless they just like keep ping-ponging waves until next dragon where you fish for it. But I think there is an argument for BDS when it gets towards next dragon to go like, hey, we're going to actually play for Baron vision. Because I think the best way for you to beat G2 in this scenario is to like have them come in blind into you and try and sit up, but we're going to hold on to this point.
Cap stepping forward, trying to isolate Nuke. Looking for the knockback. Shockwave pulls away here. Flash away from the Q3. Caps are looking to flash follow. Uh-oh. Walking a bit too far.
Uh-oh.
Caps just going to wander away. Should be fine for now. Ice, nice dash back again. Caps, can he get out of this one? Going to get away from the ultimate. Gonna get the kill! And this is the problem. He gets to decide when he takes damage. Finally, the shutdown will come through.
No, he is not allowed to do that. Caps was inting. Okay, Caps was making a mistake.
Yes, he walked in. He took 30 tower shots. He still lived. Decided now I will be squishy and one-shots Nuke.
Oh, I feel so bad for Nuke there. Like, Nuke outplayed Caps. Yeah. He was doing everything right, and he still died.
That's just unfair.
But that is so frustrating.
A bunch of money for Ice. And again, G2 have a gold lead. It's 90% Yike. So if BDS start a fight by getting a pick, hold that thought. Adam surely just caught out here. That's just too much CC. Yeah, goodbye.
He didn't get to play the game. Yeah, he just didn't. And this is kind of what G2 do, right? It's like, hey, look, Caps managed to go one for on top side. All right, let's just be annoying and look for a pick in your off of this bush as well.
Yeah. So the flash away from the knockback, and it's this flash that's the ultimate mistake, because now Cassante should be in a really horrible spot, right? The slow is applied well. Oriana's trying to keep the spacing, but that still connects. I guess if Oriana was slightly further away, just let the Varus try and finish him off, then it would have been fine. But he almost gets the kill on the Varus here as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is...
And Caps like, yeah, just another Sunday for me.
I mean, got in range for the ult. So you can fault Nuke there, maybe a little bit too close. But, yeah, Cassante, Broken Blade, nice, trying to isolate. Ice backsteps! Ulti coming in! Oh, Broken Blade is in his head. I don't know how he speaks Korean, but that was a mind read play right there.
Goes from ice in the veins to BB in the veins. Yeah. That's how it goes, yeah. But G2, trying to see now if they can set up for the Dragon. The fact that you get that flash coming through from ice makes it significantly easier now for you to go to that objective. You have Hans Sama's our ultimate, I believe, is just going to be back up in just a couple of seconds as well. So on G2 side, everything apart from Caps' flash is going to be up and available, whereas you're significantly more vulnerable with the two carries on BDS's side. So I think this is where they should try and play for Baron vision. If you have G2 trying to contest you here and pushing in towards this, you can play for big ults, you can play for picks with Labrov, you can make it difficult for G2 to play the game. And just trying to full-on contest the vision that G2 already have established is just way too difficult.
BDS, they're forcing
Cheeky
the Baron.
Start. Caps waiting off to the side. Yike is terrifying. Grouping against Yike is a horrifying prospect. BDS, where are they going to go? What is the actual call here? Right now, they're just being slowly ushered out of the pit. You are no longer welcome.
They get the TP from Broken Blade, though. So the question is, how did G2 respond? Flash, response.
Trying to force Labrov.
Knock up only onto LeBron for now, but he's going to be in trouble. Instant unbreakable to stop any potential follow-up here. Ice just trying to disengage. Caps continuing to walk forward, taking absolutely zero damage. Swirl Seed connecting onto one. Sleep down onto Ice. Broken Blade into the backline. Cheo trying to get a little bit more room. Ice taken out, and the Yasuo starting to take over. Good shutdown. Yike continuing to move in. G2 gets so much on the back of that. Adam's going to go Mega, but it's just too late. Hansama taking down Cheo. G2 could just end right here.
I think G2 are going to do it. Lavrov goes to the flash to try and get that hook at the Hansama, but just barely misses, and G2 see their opportunity, and they'll take the base.
Inhibitor falling. They've got a wave. Adam, can he clear it? The last man standing. No, the Unbreakable is there for Mickey. The wind wall is going to be there for Yasuo, too, to stop any potential follow-up. Cap stepping forward and body blocking. Lebrov on the way in. If he doesn't hook someone back into the fountain, I don't see how they're possibly going to make this work. G2 focused on the objective, and the objective is to finish this series 2-0. Match point for G2.
I was not expecting the game to end that way, but BDS said, we need to try and force a fight. Let's try and make something happen around the Baron. And then G2, they navigate around it, and it all started with that initial LeBron flash. He's the one that tried to find that pick once that flash was down. That was the window that G2 needed, and they immediately pounced.
And now what the hell do you do? I don't know.
It's a tough path to navigate for BDS. We'll see if they can mount an incredible reverse sweep, or if G2 will close this one out 3-0 when we return from this quick break.
Freely using Katarina's cook.
Kindred cautiously cooked Kit Kat cupcake.
Kindred cautiously cooked Kit Kat cupcake.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Kindred cautiously
cooked Kit Kat cupcakes.
Carefully using
Katarina's cute cookie cutters.
Ooh, I'm on it. I'm ready. Let's go.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome everyone to the Kia Tilt-Proof Challenge. We're here to see if 4 gamers can stand up to the test.
Dios mío de mi vida.
I think I lost.
I'm so happy that I didn't eat before.
quickly become
But if he takes
mincemeat.
it, he does flash over the wall.
Dash through him, flash over, flash out. He's running, but that's a red buff.
The red.
Extra Q. Whoa! First blood going through. Don't know if he needed to burn the flash, but
Is Caps in danger?
Caps potentially over-eager here. Unstoppable going to take LeBron
flash.
out. Fish for the 1v1. Unstoppable now going to go back in. Yike on the way forward. They're just going to grab a quick support kill. They're not going to finish off.
I hate that. The fact that Caps is way overextended. He's like, LeBron, get over here.
Flash now.
Look, bits. I want to chase actually.
Yeah, really, I'm still strong.
Okay, I don't. Go, play. He's dead,
Flash Varus.
Nice. Nice, huge.
Nice. Can we Nash?
Welcome back to the LEC. I have found myself a G2 fan and a BDS fan in disguise. He swore that he is a BDS fan. Now, I'm gonna show you guys the draft from game 2. If you guys don't know, spoiler alert, G2 is 2-0 in the series currently. And I'm gonna show you the draft. I want you to tell me which pick from G2 you would like to see in game 3 be repeated and why.
Yeah, I would love to see Lilia again because it seems really broken.
Okay, that's a pretty good enough reason. And Yike seems pretty strong on it as well. And for BDS, which pick would you like to see and why?
I would like to see Gnar again. Adam is actually popping off with the Gnar ults and always has good flanks, but it's not always working out the correct way, but he's pretty good on...
Do you think that Adam's Gnar can bring a win to BDS?
Yes, I truly believe that Gnar can be a winning point. They just have to change the playstyle and a bit of the rest of the comp.
Well, thank you very much for your analysis, gentlemen. I appreciate that. We're going to throw it over to the teleserver with Coolbook and Yamato to break down that Herald fight.
Thank you very much, Trouble. That's right. I'm standing by with Yamato Cannon, where we're going to be doing some little tandem action on the telestrator here. Now, Yamato.
Tandem action.
Yeah. You explain, I draw. That's kind of tandem, isn't it?
All right, let's do it together,
dive right
baby.
into it. So basically, we had this hell fight that you wanted to break down, Yamato Cannon, and you were quite often talking about the positioning. What is it that's so important right now about this Herald?
If you just pause this frame right here, right? The key thing is always in terms of how G2 manage things. They manage to push top all the way, which forces Nuke to then, of course, catch the wave under the turret. If then BDS want to reposition, he needs to take all the way around. Shio is trying to bridge him, but G2 are pulling the Herald towards the side where they have Prio. They have, of course, the TPs ready, and the moment this plays out, you kind of see how G2 read this information. The fight kind of starts out, they're starting slowly, and then the TP on the flank, and you see right away here, Nuke is out of position, they begin to kite in, and they recognize that they just have the better position. And then they, of course, force the fight, because Nuke is trying to, of course, join the fight, and the only reason this is remotely close on the follow-up is because Adam manages to find a pretty sneaky and beautiful angle.
From a coaching perspective, Yamato, this re-engage, is it worth it?
I think in terms of like searching for Rihanna, I think here it was a little bit too much, you could argue. You see the Callisto ult is kind of overblown. This is just G2 trying to punish further. Gnar, of course, with the flash in and the ultimate, of course, breaks the whole situation here, and they managed to pick up some kills. But the crucial details is just how they manage side. They managed to create the better position around Rift Herald, and Rift Herald is so important in terms of how just the map is shaped altogether.
Yeah, and I also feel like what comes out of this fight, not just the Rift Herald itself, but the amount of kills that Yike is able to pick up on this Lilia completely hyper scales him into the mid game, and we know what kind of menace he became as well. But also at the same time, as you talk about the impact of this Rift Herald as well, if you take a look at the still image right here, the mid lane has been dropped, and you are very passionate about this. Why is it dropping this mid turret immediately with Rift Herald is so important?
So against Varus specifically, right, is a champion that can wave clear very easily, wants to stand on the mid wave and wants to poke. It's very easy for blue side to find access towards Nashor because of the entry point that the mid turret creates. You have the mirrored version of it on of course red side. They can create the same situation towards Drake, right? If you lose your mid turret, your entry into Drake becomes a lot harder. The moment BDS lose this mid turret, G2 can then posture forward, push the enemy all the way in, and they can use this path towards Nashor for their own benefit. Later down in the game, Caps has been absolutely phenomenal in terms of how he pressures. He manages to, of course, control side, and then he just finds, of course, the undercutting of the Varus that is on the mid wave, and they just find the winning situation. G2, the way they manage side and how they manage the map position is winning them all of these situations surrounding the objectives, of course.
Fantastic, Yamato. For our first tandem, I'm going to give us a 7 out of 10. We got room for improvement, but your analysis was perfect. So because of that, I'm going to send you over to the analyst desk to join the rest of the post-match. Lord, take it away.
No, GB.
No, GB.
Oh, wait,
no,
it
it's
will not take it away.
us.
That's right. Me and Rob.
Let's go.
Identical twins. Vetty, not included.
They didn't give me suspenders. What do you...
I'm going to be honest, man. I think you could have pushed for it. We could have all matched. You could have brought in the
That's
synergy.
like saying I could have pushed for brunch. We both know that's not realistic.
That's
okay?
true. That's Goldberg in the corner. Oh, that's just on my screen. Sorry. I just see Goldberg's head. Excuse me.
That is kind of
There's a
hilarious.
tiny Goldberg head in my corner. I'm not hallucinating.
In any case, welcome back. We're getting ready for
dreams are coming back.
for G2 versus BDS. It's been a one-sided series so far. BDS feel like that they have been figured out by G2, and they need to show us something different, right? Like 2 games in a row. What has their first rotation been? Orianna, Varus. And are they going to continue with that strategy? Is that going to be their same approach? They've chosen to go back onto the red side. Let's see what they've cooked for us in game 3.
Could it be a Kalista first pick? Is that what we're going to see? Oh my...
But the thing is...
Oh, Poppy ban this time around. So remember we were talking about this, right? Some of the issues that the Kalista had by prioritizing the Kalista.
But now the TF is
fate.
banned, right? And Team BDS are in this position where one of the obnoxious side laners is going to show up on the side of G2. With the Kalista now picked up, G2 can rinse and repeat everything they have done so far this series. Both those games may have looked different at you at home, but functionally, strategically, they were nearly identical.
Yep.
BDS trying a very similar style, G2 shutting them down in a very similar way. And this portion of the draft, I do think, doesn't really need to change.
I'm curious if they just take these here. They just go, look, screw us. The Orianna hasn't been working. Let's go for something. Because I think Nuke has looked exceptional in the Azir.
It would give you more side lane options.
I was going to say, yeah, some more side lane options, but also like the ability to try and go for a little bit more.
Okay. Oh, that's a curveball.
Wow.
Tristana mid, maybe, alongside the brand. Maybe they even go for the Cassante mid themselves. Very curious as to where this goes. How will G2 respond this time round? Naturally, when they were on blue side game 1, Dracos already highlighted it earlier. It was the TF. Ivan. We're getting Ivan Hui. Okay.
Ivan Hui.
Okay. G2 have come with completely different drafts in every single
G2 are praying. They're like, please pick something different so we can pick something different.
The only consistency has been this Kalista, which Hansam has been more than happy to get his hands on in every single game. But Caps is, I mean, credit to him. Like, obviously, Yike, stellar performance in game 2. But Caps overall is just having a great series, and now we're going to get to see him play on the way again. For those that didn't get to see him in the regular season, an absolute monster on the champion.
And I do like the Wei in this position because it's like traditionally when you see a lot of threat towards Wei, like say a Maokai or a Vi or something that can actually get onto him in the laning phase, that's where he's really struggled, especially if you're going to have like an Azir who can go for that sweep underneath you as well. But you don't really have a lot of threat here when it's just going to be the Azir and the brand. But it feels very weird to me to go, oh, we want Ivern who's going to go for like Ardent Sensor and a bunch of other stuff like that can help like on-hit champions, and you don't take the Azir for yourself. That just seems odd to me.
What I find interesting is that these lock-ins suggest that G2 are going for the teamfight approach.
Yeah.
Game 1, we saw heavy side lane priority. Game 2, we saw more of a 4-1, but they still played 1-3-1 pretty extensively with the Cassante and the Yasuo. This time around, you're not going to be sending that Hui off to a side lane. He's primarily going to be grouping with your team. And when you have an Ivern, that is very much about teamfighting. It's about that scaling utility option and playing around your carry. So G2 is saying, you know what, we've beaten you on the side lane, we've beat you in the mid-game macro, now we're looking to beat you in the 5v5.
I think it's true, and you can see that G2 tried to support it. They ban away the Darius, which has been the only successful conventional counterpick to Zac. BDS recognized that, immediately banned the Zac. Now the Olaf is coming out as well. They're limiting a lot of these strong picks for the side of Adam. BDS forced to blind pick something. They do offer support. Nautilus, the cream of the crop for blind pick supports in the meta right now.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You're kind of caught here, but I can kind of recognize that BDS have push in mid, right? Azir managed to get the push against Wei. If you can get that push in bot lane with a strong matchup in that bottom side, you should be able to then look to feed into, hey, let's go and invade an Ivern. Ivern hates when champions are able to invade off him, and at the moment you got a lot of that bot side control. So I'm curious to see how you round this out. Like, do you just go for Leona to say, hey, we want to take the aggressive side of the matchup and then say, or you can go for this as well, just have a range on melee matchup so you get the push in bot side and try and diminish
I'd love
those.
to see a Leona. I think that she's a very underutilized champion. I think she has definitely her place within the meta.
Okay, I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's totally boring.
I mean,
you see the Varus and the brand, they stand there, slow as hell. They get ulted.
Let's go,
No!
Leona.
No! You're right, but I hate that you're right.
Well, I mean, I think
good.
that a lot of teams just think that she's not that strong, right? Like, she is traditionally very one-dimensional, right? She goes in, she CCs, and then she just kind of stands there, right? Once her CC has been
Nautilus can
landed.
hook out. Leona can't E out. Doesn't do anything.
But it was Mark, I believe it was Mark, right? A big enthusiast of the Leona over in the LPL last year that I think demonstrated to the world how effective this champion can be. And it's cool to see it coming out from G2 as an answer into this Nautilus as well. How had, we actually see the Jax from Adam as a round out. So definitely going for a multi-threat composition. I would say that as far as a BDS draft goes, this is definitely unconventional, just simply for the fact that they don't have Sheo on an engaged champion. Not a Vi, not a Xin Zhao, not a Poppy. He's not a brand. He's not a carry jungler.
And this is something we don't see very often from Sheo. While he is a guy who's known in solo queue for his Graves and these obviously very strong solo queue picks, BDS are very often super reliant on Sheo, his creative early pathing, his ganks to set up whatever lane they want to focus on. So now we'll have to see what they can do with the brand. The good news is Jax has set up on top side. You've got Nautilus Bars to set up bot side. Azir has the shuffle as well. So BDS laners have brought their own tools to make sure that brand can get something done.
I think he does need to play towards his top side though, because Adam will get control in the top lane with the push. Same when it looks at the mid lane for Nuke, and then you can look for invades off that 3-man. The bot side, because you end up taking Leona, the matchup with Leona and Nautilus essentially works where you need to play defensive as a Nautilus. Every time Leona is Zenith Blades in, you hook her and you immediately walk away. And traditionally, that's why we actually see a double Glacial Augment set up in these matchups, because it means that then slow on both sides, you're able to walk away, and Leona can't get the range to Q you and slow you down, and Leona's just tankier thanks to her W. This, though, where as we actually start to get into the game, is where we see it's going to be Aftershock for Labrov. So there is an opportunity with Mickey to Xenoblade in, Q, and get the auto attack onto Labrov. So maybe there's a moment here for Yike to try and punish the summoner spells of Labrov in that bottom lane. Or sorry, the rune choice of Labrov in that bottom lane.
See if they're able to do that. The rare matchup where early attack speed really matters for those supports, whether it's Nautilus passive or Leona Q can come through.
And it's a thriller.
I was gonna sing it. I was worried about the.
But Betty's the singer, actually. I got
guys, we had to do it. We can follow.
I don't know the moves.
You don't. What? You have to loosely know the moves.
I know
you
loosely.
Can't.
Okay, I loosely know the moves.
Because again, we have to follow.
Okay, bro. Okay.
I mean, this is why he doesn't get suspenders.
That's why he doesn't. Yeah. You were so close. Hats were next.
Oh, Jax is fishing. He's got 2 gold.
Wait. Okay. I'm sorry. The brand cam is important. How much money?
Can we get a zoom in, observers?
Can we get a little?
No.
Little tasty taste.
He's found another gold.
$1. Can he find the golden one, though? That's like 10 gold or something, isn't
What
it?
do you think is hourly wages doing this?
I mean, what? It takes him, what, a couple seconds to get...
I like that your brain is so stunned by capitalism that you're just like, he doesn't clearly work for himself.
What are you talking about? That's gold. Surely that's great.
He can just be self-employed. He can work for himself.
Yeah,
He doesn't need a wage.
Maybe he's just doing it as a hobby. You know, like...
We're allowed to have hobbies. Oh, okay, all right. Well, fair enough. So, slight gold lead on the top side. You can see 3 in the favor of Adam, courtesy of those fish. Gave their lives for that tiny lead.
All right,
and
so...
we're waiting for Sound. Sound will eventually join us back. Oh, I
can hear for the crowd.
The crowd can hear it. It's just us. All right.
Okay.
Duke taking a bit of a chunk of early damage. And yeah, all is quiet on the Rift thus far, keeping our eyes on the early jungle pathing. Brand, unsurprisingly, taking an early lead because Ivor needs a bit of time to get those camps.
As a reminder, this is the upper bracket final.
Semi-final.
Semi-final, where the winner will move on to the winter split final. Yeah. BDS, if they lose here, they will move down into the lower bracket. That doesn't mean it's the end of their road. They will have an opportunity to play. Well, they can wait, actually, because there are still best of 3s to be played tomorrow, and the winner of those best of 3s will then go on and play against
each other, and then the winner of that will face...
And that all leads into our winter split final weekend, which will take place next weekend.
And reminder, early's lock to a spot in MSI, so hugely crucial. Again, winning this is going to give you so much luxury heading into that final weekend. Right now,
Nikki.
G2 pretty favored.
Level 2 roam into mids. Great damage being put down by Caps. Are they going to make something happen here? Lebrov is suspicious. Mickey is missing. And it's like he's got to be somewhere.
I mean, Nuke's only level 3, though. What's your recourse? What's your action here if they don't go for the full dive? Flash over. E does manage to lock him up. Severing Bolt from downtown. The Ignite taking the Comet. First blood, a Twitch emote to seal the deal. And now Mickey needs to get the hell out. Blast cone to safety. Tower still hitting him.
The shield, was it enough?
Bit of shielding from Hui was enough. In goes Sheo, gets another kill back. Root coming in. Caps following up a little bit of a combo. Yike gonna land the root as well. Sheo gonna have to be careful.
So they crash the wave level 2 on bot side, and Hansama and Mickey start to move. So it looks like, again, you're going to set up for like Yike maybe to go for an invade, see if you can steal away a camp, like he has smite up, but instead, Mickey just moves mid. And the reason Labrov backed off there was because Hansama showed on bot wave again. So like, oh, they just got vision. They're coming back to lane, and that's where they were able to get the kill. But nice turnaround there for Sheo to be able to get a kill for himself, but that's still a bit of an advantage now for Caps in that mid lane.
Definitely is. Pushback comes in from Broken Blade. Adam, is he going to commit any further? Yike waiting in the darkness for the Q3 to connect before he tries to fish for the root collar. Hope, just waiting, begging Adam, please go all in. You can see him step forward there as Adam leap strikes a minion, assumed it would go onto Broken Blade. Pullback is good. Adam getting lower and lower, but Sheo in the area. Both top laners, I think, acting a little bit to try to set up for a good play from their junglers.
It's a game of chicken. Both of them will choose to not play today. For now, Adam's just going to be pushed under his tower. Reset going to come through from Broken Blade. Yike fishing, looking for a potential steal on the respawn of the Raptors. A lot of experience, but here's Sheo just at the right time. Can Caps assist? Oh, nice play
dash in from Nuke to try and punish here. Caps getting the passive proc off, but
really nice trade from Nuke.
I like this. You have to get aggressive here
of
to stop the
course, in the extended trade, Azir is always going to come out on top, right? Hui can be very obnoxious in terms of just poking at you. He has a lot of options for hitting you from a very long range, or from his Q, both the flame, the bolt, and the slow from his E.
Caps walking up there. QW for a bit of extra shielding.
I like this trading from Nuke a lot. Mickey on the roam once again. Sheo spots him out. Mickey's going anyway. I think primarily just to assist with the push out of the wave, but Nuke should be able to hold this one just fine.
So with the reset coming through from Hansama though, BDS just feeling comfortable to start up this objective. They know that Caps is too low in the mid lane, so they can't really contest on this. And as long as Mickey didn't get the value in mid, he's going to be fine. Even Labrov, you can see again hovering mid to make sure that there's going to be no counterplay, but Yike.
Yike ready to try and steal here. Sheo taking his time though, backs up, we'll make sure he can lock that one down. Caps has to be careful, level 6 Spiling Despair available, but a similar story for Nuke.
They really want to make sure that they're able to get that crash, so Caps could maybe look for the reset. Has already burnt his TP, so it doesn't really have that opportunity. And if you're Nuke, you've got the health bar to just go, hey, I'm going to go in for the sliding glide, see if you can catch Caps as Sheo's coming in towards lane as well. So Caps, you can see immediately goes into river, see if he can fish for some of the berries that are there, but unfortunately not for him.
Look at Adam. Proxying waves, basing in the enemy jungle right now. Also gained a bit of information, dropping that ward deep onto G2's side of the map. Adam playing this matchup, well, about as well as he can right now. It's a very neutral early laning phase between the two. You imagine that as the game goes on, Jax should have the scaling advantage, but Kasante's just one of the champions that's a great nullifier in a side lane, so even if you do have a lot of damage, I'm sure Broken Blade won't be too threatened, but we talked about it. BDS have so much damage on their roster. Very excited to see how they can navigate that and execute these fights as we enter the mid to lane.
But I think that's why when you're looking at this for BDS, you don't play for BB, you play for Sheo, where you play. Adam has the Tiamat push. Nuke has already shown that he can get push here in the mid lane against Caps. Okay, cool. Rotate that for Void Grubs if you want to. Rotate that for invading and contesting topside respawns of Yike's camps, and just try to get Sheo ahead in that regard. At the moment, he's still only level 5, is slightly behind Yike, but Adam will need to be careful here as well.
Going in, he hits the Q3 here. It's an easy fall. Pull back, Yike now in the area. Daisy has now been called out. Counter-Strike can connect on 2, leaping back. The Yike flashing out is Adam, ulting for safety, but it's too little. Not getting the resistances nearly fast enough.
Adam, there was very little that he could do there. Broken Blade locks him down long enough. And Yike, he did try to predict Adam flashing away with the Q. Doesn't end up connecting it, but that doesn't matter. They have more than enough damage, and now Broken Blade with an advantage in this top lane matchup. One that can very easily swing in either way. Now that Kasante has that early lead, going to be that much harder to kill in any potential side lane skirmish.
Mickey harassing Lebrov
He's
here
gonna have to flash.
a little bit. Yeah, probably has to flash out to safety. Leaves over the wall, waits as long as possible. Meanwhile, on the top side, Yike is, of course, using Daisy to knock down the grubs there. The 3 over to the side of G2 as Mickey is just barely able to make it safely back into lane. Hook connects, never mind, not safe at all. Pull back from Hansama will finally be forced out there.
Choose not to re-engage. Mickey did have the ignite, but they said, you know what, not worth it.
It's a big lead for BDS in the spot side, though. They can crash this wave and keep your eyes on Sheo. I mean, red buff's up, you've got the push in mid, and this is kind of what I was talking about. I think you play for these invades, and Yike.
Nuke getting aggressive, just sending him over. Yike flashing out. Good damage follow-up from Sheo, but they just don't quite layer it perfectly to stop Yike from flashing out.
Still get the flash from Yike, though, and they control all of this bot side jungle. I think BDS can be very happy with what they're getting off the back of this. Labrov going to be spotted. Mickey, it's a bold play to make. You should expect Sheo on the bot side of the jungle.
Yike, marking up the red buff, could try to move in. Flash out to safety from Labrov, feeling like he overcommitted there. Hansama obviously can't just pull the spears out, so forced to retreat here. BDS on the edge of making something more happen, but just can't quite get it done.
Yeah, Mickey trying to get the reset off, but BDS still hovering around, trying to make sure they can get this wave crashed in. They know that Yike is somewhere on this bottom side, but at the end of the day, BDS is still coming out on top, right? Mickey had to burn summoner spells in that one. You end up going for the invade, we get the red buff, and you get the Raptors, you get Yike's flash. So when it looks towards like Dragon in a minute and a half, suddenly a lot of these champions on G2 side are significantly more vulnerable. A little bit unfortunate as well, because I'm not sure if Sheo, the combo for getting the like Q into E on the brand to get the stun on Yike really went off, but yeah, I still think BDS, again, solid early game for them. It's just about trying to capitalize on it, but I think it's even the gold lead. It's still heavily in favor of G2 thanks to that lead that's growing in the top side.
Yeah, and I will say, this season of this matchup, Jax versus K'Sante looks very different than last season. Divine Sunderer was an incredible item for laning against K'Sante. You no longer have that. The balance out is you do have early access to Tiamat, much better wave clear, but trading against K'Sante this year is no longer free like it used to be.
I mean, every time we look at top lane, it's just Broken Blade winning out on another trade. Yep. Oh, there it is again. He's going to take a tower shot, tick over to level 9 as well. But G2, I mean, the gold lead isn't that dramatic for the time being. BDS looking for something bot.
Good up from Labrov, Sheo in the area. Hansama does not, or does have ulti. Is he going to be forced to use it out here? Sorry, looks like he does not. Indicator potentially incorrect there.
Yeah, the timer was just slightly off. Hansama's ultimate just comes up about now.
I still has his ultimate though, which is why Hansama is legging it as fast as his legs will carry him away from this bot lane tower. But it means that you seed plates on bot and you'll see dragon control as well. So BB trying to see what he can do against Adam.
Push back, pulling Adam away. Adam going to be in trouble now. Ultis and Counter-Strike tries to get a bit more space, but BB still unstoppable, taking his time. Adam, not the fancy footwork in the world. Broken Blade with a quick solo kill topside, but BDS already set up on this objective. Yike laying down brushes for a little bit more vision control. Caps can throw down a bit of poke. Daisy, body blocking, trying to make a little bit more space. This time around, Hansama does have ultimate immediately. The follow-up is there. Severing bolt from the sky. Caps making it rain fire. G2 finding gold just about everywhere. Top side of the map, BB knocking down plates left and right. Nuke finally going to get the pushback. The pullback is there from the Maw, and another kill to the side of G2.
And here's the downside of having this brand jungle is that BDS can't really turn. They don't have a real tank, and oh my god!
Spiraling despair. The damage just not quite enough. Caps. Sidestep on the ult.
Yeah, Labrov needed to be the one in the front line there, but it was Ice who ended up tanking all of that engage from G2, and as soon as Ice goes down, there's not a huge amount left in the tank for BDS.
Crucially, those level 6 just hadn't come through for these supports just yet. Labrov immediately on the retreat, and just look at Ice here. Gets hit once, gets hit twice, knock up 3 times, and then the follow-up engage from Mickey. Daisy being the initiator here for G2, with which they capitalize very well.
Plays on multiple fronts, fighting the bottom side. We're gonna have to hold that thought. Easy, quick kill pickup from the midst of BDS, as Nuke's gonna be forced off mid lane.
A nice punish in the bot side of the map, getting a kill and a shutdown onto Hansama. Definitely what they need. Maybe they can funnel some plates back into Ice, get him a little bit more gold. In the mid lane, they weren't able to find a kill, and Mickey X obviously not there to support his bot laner. What are they cooking up now? I see Sheo and Nuke making their way into the bot side of the jungle, but it seems that that's the extent of it. They're just looking to get a bit of deep vision, keep track of what Yike is up to, and then back away from that.
Yeah, you're just going to see the reset bit greedy from Hansama, and Labrov had hit level 6 off that wave that had just crashed underneath the tower, so great follow-up from the BDS bot lane to try and secure that, and now as we get back in towards the live, you can already see BDS using that advantage from the push they had, thanks to that, to invade and get a ton of vision on the spot side. I thought they might go for void groups, try and answer for the 3 that had already been picked up by G2, but with no control for Adam in this top side right now, he's gone again.
Oh, no. Tippy's pulling him out for another 1v1. Adam immediately ulting. Taking his time, looking to set up the counter-strike, leaping for now. Flash already burned, Broken Blade on a killing spree.
This is just a single gank was all it took, and now Broken Blade is completely decimating Adam in the 1v1.
Yeah, it's not getting better.
BDS are trying to make a play happen bot. The TP comes through.
I mean, they need to. BB's already getting a tower. He can knock that down. He can TP bot if he wants to, but the kickoff of the fight from Mickey X is good. Interrupting on the ult is Ice off on the side. Taking on some out for a brief moment, but Labrov already down. Now the chase onto Nuke. Daisy moving in. Severing Bolt, getting a little bit of damage. Not going to provide any slow, however.
Ooh, Mickey tried to go for that. An ambitious play from him.
Nuke rooted up immediately. The team goes in. Knocker from Daisy is there. Hansama ready to re-engage. Spiraling Despair onto Ice. Not a lot of damage. A good slow, a good Severing Bolt to follow.
I love how aggressive Mickey and Hansama are willing to play around this ultimate. They just go, yeah, I can send myself in because I know I've got an immediate jump back out. But Lavrov missing that hook on the wall ends up costing him so dearly, and BDS in tow as well.
I was just laughing at the damage that Caps was doing because, like, just he wasn't even on their screen. He took half their HP off. We'll look back at the dive. A few errors that we ended up seeing here. Labrov tries to chain the CC with the hook connecting. The hook doesn't land. Mickey misses his E, so he has to flash in. Then the CC does connect. The fear coming out from Caps to allow Hansam to secure that initial kill. Then as we get closer to the tower, Nuke is a little bit cautious, is able to create space. Mickey tries to re-engage in, but then this route is going to come through that allows the rest of G2 to collapse and secure themselves another kill. And then just look at the damage here. Ice is full HP, and then the Severing Bolt, and then the passive takes him down to half.
Seems fair.
Yeah, again, from a screen away. That's not pretty strong. Nuke pushback is there, dash out to safety. And I will say, rare misstep from Nuke. You can't just stand on top of Daisy. That's just not, that's not going to end well for you, Labrov.
Whoa, Labrov?
MacGyver an escape onto that one. Now he's going to queue back in. Maybe he's MacGyver to fight. Shale coming over the wall. Good start to the fight. Counter-strike now connecting onto Mickey. Mickey running, ticking down, burning. Broken Blade off to the side. Just going to take Shea over the wall if he needs to, but instead could just turn his sights onto Adam. What's the angle here? W forward, Q3 to bring the brand back. Daisy and Kazante just bullying this brand. Basketball tag.
Is Broken Blade done yet, though?
No, I don't think he is.
You think a tower will stop him, Ice?
Okay, Chains of Corruption at least does. So
Okay.
he does have some way of stopping him. Adam, though, doesn't have any way to stop them because he's now all alone and the wave is on its way, and I don't
Daisy's
know
coming.
how they're going to help him.
Broken Blade now following up. Adam, where is he going to go? How can he possibly escape? Another Severing Bolt. Caps just making it happen. Spiraling Despair onto Adam. They get a brief moment. The passive finally pops, and it's more than enough to finish the job. Caps with the follow-up as well. It's a double kill for the Hui. And Hansama's taking a mid-lane tower. Game 1 close. Game 2 close for a little while. Game 3 an absolute slaughter.
And I thought this was going to be a team fighting comp from G2, but they're just cutting down BDS where they stand. And Caps will get a little taste of his own. Oh wait, does he have the shield?
Oh,
no.
He missed the fear. The timing was slightly off. Nuke does come in and finish that one off. The shield almost enough from Caps. I believe Yike was in the area as well, ready to offer that assistance. But wow, what an early game from G2. BDS, they tried to make some stuff happen. We saw them looking for plays on the bot side of the map. But these fights have not gone in their favor. And the real problem that they have is that even if they bring Adam down, the second the Broken Blade matches, they can't do anything. It's so difficult to deal with this guy. Like, maybe Azir can later on into the game, but with his 2 fully completed items already, you're just not going to be able to shut him down.
And I do appreciate BDS going for something a little bit different in this game with, like, Shale going into something that's a bit more carry-oriented.
Oh, they're going to try 5 people.
Broken Blade.
Is it enough?
No.
Stunned.
Ult.
Endless CC, unstoppable. Redemption shield coming in. Mickey with the locket. He's living. He refuses to go down. Now all of BDS following up, though. They can take down Mickey. Maybe they can get a little more, keep the fight going. But Yike, buying more time, spreading the team out. A single pick to the side of BDS.
Mickey loses his life to protect the KDA of Broken Blade. Great utility being offered there from Yike
it's
as
the
well.
Heart steal of Broken Blade. Get your bands
True,
right.
that's true. That was a good one. The rest of G2 tried to push in through mid, push in through top. The good news for BDS is there's no real objective for G2 to trade in the cross map, which means that they're only going to lose a little bit of farm. And BDS, they're able to get a kill.
But the only reason they didn't all die for going on Broken Blade is that Caps and Hansama weren't there.
That's true.
Because the problem is, this is the blueprint for success for every single G2 Hwei game is, yes, Caps is Caps, and that's an important part of any equation, but it's just, if you have a front line with a bunch of CC that the enemy cannot immediately kill, that person's job just makes it all of the Hwei's QWs just land effortlessly.
It's rough when your Azir is going Void Staff second. It's
yeah, I would say that...
Okay, but BDS is in a good position to contest this. Kasante's still in the bot lane, no TP available. They need to try and make something happen here, knowing that they have the numbers advantage, unlocking the top lane tower. Again, a very classic G2. They've got 2 people pushing mid and bot. Hansama is the one that they've sent off early. They're conceding the Herald for now. Will G2 still try to fight this?
Yes. They definitely will.
I think they're going to go mid.
I think they're not going to. I think they're actually just going to control BDS, keep them in the river, and exchange this for 2 towers. The TP response in the bot lane to try and keep that bot tier 2 alive, I like from BDS.
Response coming in from Adam to make sure the tier 2 can't go down too easily. They're just looking to pick off LeBron. Locked up, does manage to get the hook out to safety for at least a minute. Good follow up there, flash out. LeBron is living. Broken Blade trying to get something done. Push back. He's looking for another potential 1v1. He doesn't quite get him over the wall, and Ice is coming in. Should be a quick, easy arrow fall, but right now Broken Blade is running. Meanwhile, Sheo getting taken down. Broken Blade sprinting. The Ghost, is it enough? He's running for his life, and he will manage to make it a safety. Caps fishing for the Severing Bolt on the bottom side.
Is a nuke just dead now?
Yeah.
Yes. Severing Bolt. You can choose who you die to. Basketball Ivern. Nope, it's still Caps. It's the illusion of choice. Hwei Severing Bolt.
Yeah, I mean, nice job though from G2, right? Yes, they don't take the fight at the objective, but they're just able to go, right, we'll push mid, we can catch you as you start to try and rotate back. And managing to pick off several members, and again, it's just full control here for G2, where it feels so difficult to try and fight against G2 at any point in time, because you're losing side lane push, you're losing when it comes to 3v3 in mid, when you're pushing on towards like Nuke and Caps now, Caps starting to get that advantage as well. It's like, where do you try and put your pressure?
I mean, credit to Nuke, he does have a 1.1k gold lead. A lot of that has been off the back of him just farming very well this game, but Caps has 5 kills still. He's still at 2 completed items. Nuke is going to do what he can to try and be this late game threat, but it feels that G2 just have so much of an advantage at this point in the game. It feels difficult for BDS to find ways back into it, especially when Adam just can't hold Broken Blade in the side lane. It feels like Nuke has to constantly match him, which for now he can do, but they're on opposite sides of the map for the time being. Broken Blade going to continue pushing in that pot wave. He has the TP available. And now they're sending Hansama once again, controlling this mid wave, keeping the push up. And they're setting up control around the Baron.
Trio of Yike, Mickey, and Hansama doing what they can to control mid, make sure that they have everything they need to take the Baron and BDS overstep, or if G2 can find a pick on the side lanes. Caps does have to be careful, though. He is not favored in the side lane 1v1, as Daisy has been called out to start the objective here.
I mean, why wouldn't they? They know that they're stronger. They have the TP. They're going to invest it right now, and they're going to force this objective.
Adam on bot side spotted with no TP. This is their cue to kick things off. Sheo just a brand. It's going to be tough for him to get into this pit to stop this from happening. Mickey going over the wall already, just trying to keep the jungler out of the equation. 2K getting lower and lower. They should just be able to take it, and they do. They lock it down. They deny it. Baron going over to the side of G2. BDS can get the follow-up fight. Broken Blade leaping in, footwork to keep Mickey X safe.
Credit to Sheo, he does flash into the pit. He tries to go for the steal, but he wasn't quite able to secure it. Now, BDS once again on the retreat.
Broken Blade stepping in, ulti back through, isolating LeBron off to the side, but has to be careful because Ice is in the area. Has he given his gold lead away? Unstoppable, he is. We'll find one, and now just going to try to waltz out to safety. Hansama coming around the corner as well. That's going to be the big flank. Meanwhile, on the top side of your fight, Nuke finding a quick pick onto Mickey. Broken Blade now in trouble. Adam kind of keeping the momentum in their favor. Caps TPing in. Or TPing out, excuse me, but the flank here just doesn't matter. Hansama now on a rampage. Nuke taken out. 2 members left standing. Spiraling Despair doesn't connect. Caps has to be careful here, though. Finally has the Ivern shielding, now can step forward a little bit more confidently. Severing Bolt, not going to have a slow, so not going to stop the steady escape here from the side of BDS. Yike chasing, though, Cloud Rift. Not going to happen. BDS will retreat successfully.
Yeah, way not the best when it comes towards a flank opportunity, even with Adam having no mana, still feeling comfortable to go forward, but Nuke got some solid plays on that top side of the fight, so making it a little bit more even. G2 will get the Dragon, they get the Baron, so still having a couple of members with that alive will help G2 in pushing forward, but a lot of time kind of wasted on their Baron buff in trying to get to BDS, so curious how much they'll actually get off this play now.
So we look back at the Baron. Let's see how close Jo really was. The CC comes through for Mickey a little early because there's a window for him to flash in, but with the rend from the Callista and the smite from Yike, they're able to lock down that Baron. And then G2, I would argue, get a little overzealous here, trying to force this fight. They really should just choose to reset. You can see Caps has gone up to top lane to push out that wave. Hansam has gone mid. The priority for those two is pushing these waves out before getting a reset. Meanwhile, the other three members of G2 are saying, let's test how much damage we can do. Broken Blade does end up getting a kill. Mickey does lose his life, but in exchange, it's Hansama, that ends up getting the kill onto Nuke, and then Broken Blade ruins his perfect KDA.
But that's the thing, there was no damage that was there. Like, Hansam was pushing mid, Caps was pushing top, so Nuke was kind of just free to go, yeah, I'll take on the jungle support and the support, like, and you're not going to be able to kill me. So for G2, as you say, a little bit overzealous, and does help out a little bit, but still, Baron is up. They are still going to be able to get this bot tower off this push. Nuke does need to be careful, as Mickey will start to wrap around, but it's just the map going to get smaller and smaller now for BDS as G2 continues.
Yeah, Caps has to be careful about stepping too far forward here, but you can see with a Flame and Ivern, it's so hard to stop this siege from working. Endless wave clear coming in from the Molten Fisher, and now LeBron stepping just a little bit too far forward. Slow coming in from Mickey X's ultimate, Redemption going down as well. Broken Blade already isolating Nuke. G2 just want to go for the throat here, looking to end it quick. Nuke does him a favor and pushes him right back into the lane that they're looking to push. G2 ruthless.
Another 2 kills.
Dude, it's insane.
They're just playing with their food at this point. The first 2 games at least went plus 30 minutes. BDS at times showed signs of life, but it feels like that from start to finish, G2 have just had their foot on the pedal. The first inhibitor tower will fall. The inhibitor short to follow. I imagine they'll look to base here.
Root onto Adam, good CC, counter-strike for a brief moment, potential re-engage here now. Lebrov doesn't have the angle to follow up. Broken Blade body blocking the potential hook. BDS stepping up, but they don't have enough in the tank.
It's just a bluff. Like, you don't even have any sort of like TP wards for Nuke to come in and look for. I mean, he doesn't even have to shuffle either. So it's like you're just kind of bluffing your way to say, yeah, get out of here. But Adam does need to be careful because, yeah, I was gonna say G2 could turn there, but not able to connect with the Q on the Ivern. But still, you know, you get BDS trying to push out waves to just delay as long as possible. But with 2 minutes on towards Baron, I think that's gonna be the next one for G2.
Just a reminder here that while we were talking about the Broken Blade KDA, that the real KDA king right now is Magic Johnson in the jungle there. 1-0 and 16, I mean, 24 stack Medjais.
He went deathless in the previous game as well. We haven't talked a huge amount about Yike because you could say that like he hasn't been like the flashiest of players,
he's
but
facilitator,
he's been doing an
series.
amazing job so far in this series. In game 2, his Lilia was monstrous. He was doing an insane amount of damage in every single one of the fights. And in this game, he's just been very much a facilitator. But it's been crazy to me that it feels like that every game we've seen a different version of G2. And to me, that's been one of the biggest discrepancies between BDS and G2, where BDS, they came in with their traditional style, they had their approach, and they stuck to that approach. It feels like in every game. In game 3, they tried to shape it up, whereas G2 showcasing a wide array of different approaches to the game with a bunch of different champions and different carries stepping up at different moments.
And this has been the criticism of BDS, is that they haven't had that opportunity to try and flex about or find new styles. And I feel like this is them attempting it with Jo getting off of engage. He goes for the Brown, wants to be a damage dealer. Adam going for more of a side lane split pusher in the Jax, but it just hasn't worked out. And when it's come to playing side lanes, playing the map, that's where G2 has thrived, and BDS have shown that they just can't really match that for a huge amount of this game. Or sorry, this series, I should say.
Certainly this series, G2 feels like the first team that has really tested BDS on that front. See if they can adapt in the series upcoming, or in this series, if they can bring this game back. They are on the edge here. They're not going to get eliminated, reminder. They have that extra life as they managed to 2-0 their way through the best-of-3 portion of our playoffs. So we'll still be waiting for whoever wins the next best-of-5 to see who can face G2 again in the finals, if they can close this out. But this could just be the final fight. Nice lock-up onto Nuke. Immediate follow-up. CC Nuke just barely able to flash into safety. Has already set up a tower. A little bit of backline defense. Severing Bolt! What the heck? Broken Blade on the flank now as well. Ice is going to be in trouble. Waiting for the angle to try to ult him through. Q3 not going to connect. Has a bit more space, but it's just another QW from Hui. The range is ridiculous. G2 looking for the victory lap close out here. One carry already done. Eyes on Caps. He's just fishing. And G2 might just be able to close it out, but they don't really have waves.
They're just running into BDS's base. Now the mid wave will arrive. Yike is going to tank up the tower for now. Nuke is the one with all of their gold. and he is not alive to defend them. The second inhibitor will fall. It feels like that this series is done and dusted.
Again, it's BDS just cannot get the monkey that is G2 off their shoulder. Every single time they've beaten him the best of, and BDS just haven't been able to find it again today.
Kabrov caught out, another severing bolt, taking so much life. Hansama gonna grab the kill. Ice now pulled back. Quick team fight for G2, making it look easy. QW, Caps on a rampage. Walking back into the fountain, not going to keep him safe either. Caps going in, Spiral on Despair, fishing for the full combo, manages to find the root as well. Immediately follows up, it's the perfect way combo. Let him know, Caps. Mickey, he did it. G2 have done it. BDS beaten out, a clean sweep for G2 Esports as they move on to the winter finals.
BDS, they eat all the QWs, but it's G2 who are gaining the Ws. What an incredible performance from this squad who, I mean, our criticism has been leveraged at them, but there's very little to criticize after a performance like that.
BDS are going to feel frustrated after that series. And they're going to have to, I mean, they will still have an opportunity. There is the chance for them to get that rematch versus G2. But your player of the series are on your screen, Broken Blade, Yike, and Caps. I feel like it's going to be Caps, but they all had a great series. G2 looked fantastic today. And the rest of Europe is going to be looking at them and trying to figure out how do we match that mid-game? How do we match that mid-game? Because the way that they are moving around the map, managing their waves, they feel like a fresh new G2.
And I think it's always going to be a tall task in the first split of a new year where G2 have kept a 5-man lineup and everyone else is rebuilding at least some bits and pieces. And you can see BDS, yes, only making really one change in the AD carry department. Able to also come out ahead in the mid-game against the vast majority of teams, but against G2, it is certainly too tall a task. Have to see how BDS fare in the lower side of the remaining playoffs bracket, who they will be facing up against as well. Of course, we have 2 more best-of-3s tomorrow to see who will be matching up in our next best-of-5.
I do think, though, coming back to G2, that it's great to see that kind of creativity coming back into their play, where it's like, look, we've got combos like the Zac way, right? But you're getting to see, like, oh, we're going to flex K'Sante to mid so we can open up a counter pick potentially in that top lane with the Yasuo into the Gnar matchup. Like, there feels like there's so much that G2 still have to show us, alongside already having a fantastic mid game that's difficult to beat.
When we think about last year, the most common trend that we saw domestically was Draven Kalista banned from Hansama. He wasn't allowed it. Now it feels like you have too much that you need to ban, and you've still got Hansama getting his Kalista every single game, right? And I feel like that is one of the most obvious evolutions, where in before it felt like they could only win largely through bots. Now I feel like they have more tools.
A lot of evolutions for G2. That's enough from us here at the desk. Let's send it down to the stage for an interview with Caps and Dylan Falco.
Thank you, Dracos. Congratulations for a swift best-of-5 win, guys.
Thank you.
Now, Dylan, I'm going to start with you, because you do a lot of the preparation, the braining behind everything. Was there anything concerning moving into that best-of-5 series versus BDS?
I think the most interesting thing for me is on this patch, there's a lot of room to innovate. There's a lot of wacky stuff like the Brand jungle. We were playing Twisted Face top, so I just had to make sure the plans actually made sense, even as I get a bit crazier.
Well, Caps, you are one of the players that does make it crazier, with a lot of the picks that you want to pull into the Rift. Was there anything in particular that you wanted to play today that maybe you didn't have the chance to?
I mean, definitely a lot of picks, but
probably
Dylan wouldn't have maybe, if I said which, but I'm hoping BDS comes next week, and then we can maybe show them up.
Maybe a rematch again, another quick 3-0 Caps. Now, was there anything player-wise that was concerning or scary playing versus BDS for you?
I mean, definitely BDS was looking very strong, right? I think they have had a very good split so far. And I think the nice thing for us was that they're relying on a lot of the same things, and they're really good at it, but we kind of had a good idea of how to play against it, I guess.
Fair enough. Now, how would you rate the drafts? Is there anything unexpected that came from the side of BDS? Were you disappointed in any way that they didn't put everything they could into matching you guys?
I think it was mostly as expected, like the Orianna, Azir, and tanks. I guess Adam didn't get one of his champions today, so we obviously try and make that not happen, so maybe that's something to do with it, but maybe that was a bit surprising.
Absolutely. And Caps, are you an enjoyer of any other league in particular around the world?
And the league, I mean, I always love LPL, okay, right? I think they're obviously the strongest regions, and I really want to beat them, so definitely my eyes on them.
Do you draw an inspiration from them, and if so, what is that?
I mean, there's a lot of inspiration. Of course, we watch a lot of their VODs, and even sometimes we watch it together, right? Try and figure out what they do that makes them so strong. And I think we have definitely gotten some good ideas. And with a bit of innovation there, and some cheese picks, maybe we can get even stronger.
Every time he talks about picks and innovation, I see your cheeky smile dealing like, oh God, what's going to come my way this time? Who would you say, if you have to choose, played the best today in your team and deserves to get Kia Player of the Series?
I think Caps has a habit of winning the MVP this split, so...
Okay, you have to be unbiased.
Unbiased?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm not sure. I don't know. The Cassante running behind the turrets, I think, was a bit sus.
Killed him.
I think I'll go with Yike because he had the Lilia game and the really good Ivern game. But I have a suspicion Caps will win the MVP.
Oh, so he puts your second choice, but Yike first. What would be your choice? Unbiased. You can choose yourself.
Unbiased, probably would be Caps, I think.
Wow.
What did Caps do so well? Can you please explain to me what Caps did so well to deserve it?
I think, taking the Cassandra, being a team player like that, of course. Some good paintings in the last game as well. There was no Yumi, sadly. I think they could have gone for the Yumi, right? That would have been a nice drawing I could have made there, but it was nice nonetheless.
Was it really being a team player picking the Cassante for yourself, Caps? Because you did get Kia Player of the Series. Congratulations on that one.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Now, real quickly, I have a question that you both can be included here. I want you to tell me a little bit about Yike's development, because we saw him as a rookie. We saw him how he developed through the year in G2, and now we see him yet another year. In this particular series, he picked 3 completely different champions, and he shined on all 3. How has it been behind the scenes working with him for you?
Actually, working with Yike has always been a pleasure. I don't consider him a rookie since maybe MSI. He's gotten so much experience on stage and best of 5s, internationally even. And I think the main thing is just his versatility. He's so strong on the carry picks as well as the engaged champions, and I think that's what we saw today. Especially when Caps is willing to enable him with some of his champions like the Cassante, which I really appreciate.
Talking about enabling him, Caps, how's your synergy with him?
I mean, I think he's just really insane, right? I mean, even from the first game, I remember on stage, maybe he was a bit nervous, but then I think he just played Graves and went like 8-0. And I think he had like 27 kills the first week. So obviously from there, he has also improved a lot, and I think he is really insane right now. So hopefully we can show it together next week.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for the interview. Congrats on making it to the finals as well for the winter split. We're going to throw it over to Lauren Kuhlhoff for PGL. They're standing by with no one else other than Yike.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post-game lobby in the fan zone. Once again, I feel like it's G2 PGL fan zone all the time. We'll get other teams here, of course, but first things first, Yike, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
That was fast, to say the least. Before starting the day, we were like trying some predictions, and I was on the side of people who were thinking 3-1 for you guys, because you have your fun sometimes, and you try stuff. What was the expectation coming in today?
Yeah, I think it makes sense that people think we will go 3-1, because we haven't had the cleanest games throughout the whole split, but I think today we came up with a good plan, and I think we executed it well. I think the only sus game was the game 1, but I think Caps played very well that game, so we could take it over.
That's kind of a macro lesson, as we said.
That's what I mean as well. I feel like a lot of that came down to the first Dragon fight that you guys had as well, so that set that up initially. But okay, let's talk about some Cassante instead, because the champion
nice
is
champion,
very disgusting. Yeah. What do you think about BB's performance in game 3?
Yeah, he was smurfing it, solo killing all the time. I guess I helped him once, but he was playing very well, so that was nice.
See, you guys have so many flex picks that I would like to see a ranking of the G2 players on the different picks that you can flex to see who is best. Do you think?
I would like to do that too.
Yeah, is Caps better than BB on Cassante? The champion is broken, but still.
It's very broken, so it's hard to say because both just look OP. But I think probably BB has more games, so probably right now it's BB.
All right.
I think Caps can get there.
But how boring would it be from the jungle perspective? You share champions with Redl and Maokai.
Yeah, we have the boring champs.
Yeah,
is,
for sure Mickey is the best Maokai, right?
Yeah.
No, there's
Mickey,
no need.
by far the best Maokai. I don't know why I should even play Maokai. I shouldn't play it anymore, right?
Nah.
No more Maokai, probably.
On that champion that we haven't seen, actually, there's been a debate whether it's still as strong in the jungle now, or is getting better in the support position? What is your thought on this, as someone who doesn't want to play RK, of course?
And your honest thoughts.
Your honest thoughts on that.
I'll give my honest opinions. It's very OP on support, but it's still good in jungle. So I think playing it in jungle is always going to work, and it's always going to be strong. So yeah, that's why it's a good flex.
I love the way you guys think about the draft, come up with new picks, but also play the meta perfectly. And I know we've been critical of G2's way of playing the game and being sloppy in the early game. That is the best version we've seen of G2 all year, I feel, today. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I would say so. I think besides the game one, of course, where we kind of into the dragon, overall, I think we played very good today.
I think there's a very clear difference in terms of where you guys started making your improvement. I think when we reached week 5, that's where everything sort of felt like it started connecting again, and then going into 4 and 5, and specifically today, as a team, it feels like you guys are starting to gel way better from the early game into the transition to the mid game. How has that process looked like from you guys behind the scene? What have you specifically done to bandage or actually fix these problems?
Yeah, I think we probably had been having a bit too much fun in the beginning. I think like after coming back from off-season, scrimming again, it's everything going well. We just, we just messed up a lot of times, and we had a bit too much fun. So now I think we decided to actually try out a bit more, so we don't enter early games.
So no new tools has been established from behind the scenes. It's just you guys started taking it serious.
Yeah, I mean, I think the staff is a bit hard on us, and I think they should be, because when we int like that, I think we deserve to get some blame.
I mean, it goes with the level that's expected from G2, and of course, at the end of the line, this split, you want to aim for this first MSI spot. I know that international affairs didn't go too well for you guys last year, but readjusting to this and prepping for this potential MSI, what do you want to work on the most within the LEC and the teams you have as opponents?
Yeah, so I think what we were working on the most is, as we said probably a lot of times, the mid game, and I think that's where we actually improved so much, and I think it shows in like all of the games we've been playing. I think we play very good mid game, and that's why we usually win these games in the end, and that's for the international tournaments. It's for MSI, it's for Worlds.
I agree, but I think domestic league is not the same level as you have internationally. So how can you reciprocate the same setups that you're going to find out playing against the likes of LPL or LCK later?
Yeah, so I think LPL and LCK, they're also kind of, like most of the time, they're also playing very slow early game. And we kind of had a bit similar, where we played a bit slow, we didn't do so much, and we can do much more that we don't do. But yeah, I think we're kind of doing a bit similar to them, and yeah, we're trying to match like the way they play. We look at the VODs, we try to learn from them, and that's why I'm very excited to go to MSI if we qualify.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure, but I keep on wondering, what do we make of the LEC right now, Chibi? We're like close to getting finals week. Next week we have a couple best of 3, best of 5s with us before we head to finals. I don't know what you think of the league.
I think that we are definitely established in layers right now in terms of how good teams are. I think there's a clear bottom. I think it also showed with some of the matchups we had earlier this week with the teams we've already said goodbye to as well in terms of the performance coming through. And even today, I thought that G2 and BDS was actually going to be closer than it was, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think game 1 of this series had been my favorite game I've watched all year, just because of how well the mid game is played and the cross maps we see from both teams. It was such an interesting game to VOD review it or just review it by itself. But I think there's a clear top right now, and unless other teams kind of follow up in G2, I still think that after today, they're a clear number 1.
And to me, that's what the expectation was coming into this year.
I thought they could drop games, and I'm glad you said you thought so too, because I was arguing with Vegas. But
oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, I have his word for it. But yeah, I think there's a clear number 1.
But I want to have your thoughts on your opponents actually leading into best of 5s and the teams you faced off against already. Who is the strongest or most interesting opponents you had? Fnatic, I think, might be one, but...
Yeah, we might look onto Fnatic, because, I mean, they were the team that got 1 game from us, and I think overall, like, BDS is very good, and they actually made, like, game 1 that we won, they made it very hard for us, which usually doesn't happen, you know? So BDS and Fnatic, I think, look the strongest right now, and then there's SK, Vitality, and MDK left, and I think all of these teams have, like, I think they all had their ups and downs, and I think that is like the problem with them. I think the other 3 has been pretty consistent, BDS, G2, Fnatic, and the rest of the last 3 have been a bit messy sometimes.
I think they've shown some high at times, but they also have shown the lows, and it's really just about finding that consistency. I think, for example, a team like Vitality can show that they can actually be really good when they hit the mark, but then you also get what you got last time, and it just
you don't know what to expect on this side of Vitality. Is it going to be a series like the one they played against SK, or what we've seen during the entirety of the split? And they're going to face off against MDK, who I think is an interesting team, full of rookies. drafts have no rules at all. They play whatever they want. The coach said it himself. If a player is confident enough to pull a champion on official games, he will let them do it. Reminds me of someone else we know. But what do you think of the approach they had so far and what they've been trying in draft and cooking?
Yeah, I think they're kind of similar to us with the draft thing being more open, which when they can play like their stuff, like the 56 top, for example, this kind of stuff. And I think that's I think it's good. I think more teams should try to do that because there's a lot of good counter picks, good pocket picks you can pull out. And yeah, I think that's what making Mad look pretty strong right now. And yeah, like you saw yesterday, they were playing very good.
So you made it to the upper final a year ago. You were playing your first final, a couple days, of course, minus that. But how good do you feel this year? 1 year after joining the LEC, playing against the best junglers in the world, you must look at this final in a different way. What is going to be the focus for you, Yike?
Yeah, I think going into this final now for the next year or for my second year, I really just want to kind of stomp even harder than we did last year because I want to prove myself to still be like very good. You know, I don't want to be one of those rookies who has one good year and then they start getting like not washed, but start performing worse. And I never want to be that. So I'm gonna focus on just performing as good as I can, win all the LEC titles, and then perform in MSI and the Worlds.
Just easy, win everything. A couple of predictions on the games we're going to have tomorrow, as we said. Vitality MDK on one side, Fnatic versus SK Gaming, if I'm not mistaken, on the other. Who takes it? Both series. Give us predictions.
I'll start with Vitality MDK. I think that's going to be actually a very interesting one because I think both of them are playing pretty good right now. So I think it's going to go to 3 games, but I'll give it to MDK. And Fnatic SK, I mean, Fnatic looks stronger than SK right now. But SK looked very good, like first week, for example, and second week, I think, where they performed very well. So it's hard to say. I think if SK has a good day, they could actually win against Fnatic. But otherwise, I think Fnatic might have it. So, yeah.
GB, any
giving
take on these predictions?
Well. Yeah,
I can ask the fans here also for the predictions. I would like that, actually.
I think Fnatic versus SK at least is going over to Fnatic. I think based on recent performance, they've shown it. But I'm actually going to go for an underdog against MDK, and I'm going to try and hope that Vitality's prep, in terms of what they made as mistakes earlier, will actually benefit them going up against MDK. I think that's going to be a very bot-centric matchup between Kazi and Hylissang and Super and Alvaro, but I'm giving the edge to Vitality on a hope.
What do you think of GB's prediction? Can Vitality win versus MDK tomorrow?
Yeah, that's they're very loud right now. They're so loud they're not being picked up by the mic.
And Fnatic versus SK Gaming. Do you think Fnatic takes it?
It started working.
See, that sounds like a good prediction on my end. GB, thank you so much. Yike, thank you as well for joining us today in PGL. Thank you to all the fans, of course, who gathered here in the fan zone. And we have more League of Legends going over in North America with the LCS starting soon. And we'll see you tomorrow for the rest of Best of Threes. Bye-bye.
On the bottom side of the fight, Mickey now on the chase, flashing for the stun, forcing out the cleanser of Ice, but there should just be a quick turn back because Ice does not go down. BDS able to find the kill, Ice now looking to follow up, G2 over-committing.
Azir didn't TP, okay? Can you fight Azir? Not to be no flash still. Yeah, no flash. Nice, it's fine.
But I mean, this is what they've done. I mean, now you've got 2-level advantage on Rabadon's and he's gone.
There, Adam, you've just got no chance. There's too many soldiers. You're just one man against an Empire. Cap's now taking him down. G2 immediately started the objectives.
Very nice stun. By the way, I don't know if we can flash. We have like, even me and Azir can do this.
Yeah, Azir do it, and you guys show. Yeah,
you guys show. Okay, we're hitting it.
Let's get a nice good job.
Good job, boys.
Surely become
if he takes it, he really does flash over the wall.
Dash through him. Flash over, flash out, he's running, but that's a red buff!
The red.
Extra Q, whoa! First blood going through. Don't know if he needed to burn the flash, but
Cap's in danger.
Cap's potentially over-eager here. Unstoppable, gonna take the flash. Fish for the 1v1. Unstoppable now gonna go back in. Yike on the way forward. They're just gonna grab a quick support kill. They're not gonna finish off.
I hate that. The fact that Caps is way overextended. He's like, get over here.
Adam can just fall off, lay down a bunch of CC. Should be an easy kill onto him. Flashing back out, but Ice gives him a little present on his way out, sends him straight to the grave.
Nicely done, another good punish. And
I want to chase actually.
Yeah, I'm still strong.
Okay, I don't. Go, play. Is that?
Flash virus.
Nice, huge.
Nice. Can we Nash?
I and you'll see Dragon Control as well. So BD trying to see what he can do against Adam.
Push back, pulling Adam away. Adam going to be in trouble now. Ulti's a counter-strike, tries to get a bit more space, but BB still unstoppable, taking his time. Adam, not the fancy footwork in the world. Broken Blade with a quick solo kill this time around. Hansama does have ultimate immediately. The bulb is there. Severing bolt from the sky. Caps making it rain fire. G2 finding gold just about everywhere.
Oh, you got it. Nice.
Good job, boys. Good job, everyone. Very clean. 3-0. Let's go.